Okay. And we are live, back with Roadwarden. Yesterday, we started the game. Had the prologue, the tutorial. We started the real game after about an hour in. We got a couple places, to an inn, the Pelt of the North, to a village, a ruined village. But once we got there, we started having some internet issues. So some parts of the conversation got cut out. We'll do a recap of what was missed when we're back inside the game. Today, I'm thinking we're gonna go through the first day. We still have like 9 hours left in the day, and then we'll have to decide what we do with our time, because we have a couple of decisions to make already. Anyway, let's get started. Boop. Today's quote: "Altering the wilderness too much or too quickly spurs animals to join forces to push away or devour their shared enemy, humankind. Such events are known as wrath of the herds, animal unions, or nature's fury." Enter. Let me load up the save. Okay, so last time, while we were having a talk, while we were exploring the central plaza and going through this big house's cellar to encounter a stranger, the stream cut out. Basically, in this cellar, there's a guy. He's a scavenger. He's taking iron scraps from barrels and furniture to resell, and he gave me a job to come back tomorrow and escort him out of town. After that, we left the village because we were getting too sick. We checked out those pastures down here, which were no signs of where the livestock went or what kind of livestock it was. We went west to these fields. It's been 10 years since the village burned down, but these fields still don't have any regrowth. No grass is back, no weeds, no nothing. That's kind of suspicious. Then while we went around the village, because we don't have a way through the village, we went around. These bushes here take a while to traverse. And every time we're going to have to pass through this area, we're going to have to go around the village. And this will take a while. Passing through here is like a major blocker in our time. This takes a lot of time to traverse. Anyway, now on this other side of the village, we checked out the road. And now we checked out the road. It's open. It's fine. And then the last thing we checked out, which I'm currently looking at this screen, is the river. Went down to the river, and I don't think we've read this text. Anything else we found or did while we were down the village and time was skipped? Rose is here. Oh wait, we haven't read about our horse. Or the fish trap. Or the rope. Let's read. Rose, while valuable, they can't survive in the Dragon Woods on their own. They're owned by messengers, scouts, or rich city folks. Orcs are not a common sight in the Dragon Woods. They were brought here from the conquests in the south and can't survive in forests by themselves. They can run for a long time, but not fast enough to escape all the local monsters. Usually, riders maintain a steady, human-like speed, saving the strength of their mount for the unavoidable dangers that require galloping. Basket, a basket made of vines and willow branches. The basket-like tool meant to be kept in shallow fresh water. Fish enter it from time to time, seeking shelter or getting lured by a set bait. The basket lid has a single funnel-shaped hole, which resizes when a creature tries to squeeze through it, but then returns to the original position, imprisoning its prey. In an ideal situation, fish catch themselves on their own, while the hunter takes care of other chores. Still, building a fine trap may take even half a day, depending on size, shapes, and used materials, and they're anything but permanent. They tend to rot, and are often destroyed or robbed by the local wildlife, tempted by the easy reward. Because of this, they're usually seen as a source of additional luxury, rather than the main source of food. And finally, the rope. With durable hemp fiber, it can support the weight of 4 people with their traveling equipment. Making a rope takes a lot of time and involves complex tools that can combine thousands of fibers harvested from plants, mostly hemp, linen, or straws. While it doesn't take much skill, it can be handled even by children. It's rare to find an artisan who would specialize in twisting them all day long. Ropes are much more durable than leather strips, and are used for all sorts of things, though the durability doesn't make them a common merchandise. They can be heavy and awkward, so it's common for groups of travelers to share a single one among all of them during their journey. Okay, that's our new inventory, and we also have this claw, which you can't use your inventory right now. Okay. Let's read where we're at. You see a quenching family of boars, some of them brown, some black. You consider turning back, but they pay you little attention. With a couple of grunts, they run north. The road is not too wide, yet unusually deep. with banks altered by the locals for decades, if not centuries. The water is cold and clean, yet filled with long plants growing from the bottom. You would rather avoid jumping inside of or drinking from it, but you're tempted to at least wash your face, neck, and hands. Dozens, if not hundreds of small fish are looking for tasty leaves. Asuelo Yet. Hey, what's up? Well, we had some issues yesterday with the stream, where we like cut out and skipped some portion of the game. But it was like 10 minutes, it's fine. We just had to end the stream, you know, and I had to do a quick recap, but it's okay. Also, hi. Lunar New Year. Ah, that's right. That sound. I think I've seen an ad about like a Lunar New Year discount. Anyway, back to the game. Hundreds of fish, dozens if not hundreds of small fish are looking for tasty leaves. Also try to avoid their predators, a dance of life, completely unaware of your presence. You suddenly realize there's something else buried in the kelp. A rusty sickle sticking out of the ground, a couple of stone axes and hoes. The wooden handles and a large wagon are covered with moss, but recognize their shapes. Oh, someone dropped them here, in the river. On the opposite side of the bank, the meadow turns to a thick forest, impenetrable for a rider. I turn back. Can I put a fish trap? I can wash myself by the riverbank. We have 9 hours, we can take some time. I can't go back inside the village, we're too sick from the whatever is in there. I need to see what's on the other side of the northern gate if I want to open it. So if I come back tomorrow to get the guy in the little cellar here, I can also check out the northern gate. Maybe get a shortcut here. Let's set up a fish trap. We're gonna be coming back here tomorrow for the job the guy here gave us to escort him out of town. You place the basket on the ground, then grab a bowl and start digging, looking for a few larger worms. You bait the stick and push it inside the basket, locking it between the sides, then cover the entrance with a lid. Tying it together takes you a few good moments, but it will be easier later on. You attach the entire trap to a bush and push it into the stream, far enough that it sinks entirely. Who knows how long it'll take before something large enough swims inside. Still, it would be better not to wait too long, otherwise the prey may die of hunger. That took us half an hour! Oh my god. Let's not wash yet. Let's get out of here. How long to go back? 45 minutes. Okay, now we can keep pushing. It's fine, we have time. You enter the wetlands, with their many streams, ponds, and fish. Large birds run and fly between the grey, sparse trees that are covered with moss, mushrooms, and critters. For a human, it may be an unwelcoming and harsh realm, but for the overwhelming swarms of insects, prove that it's a realm full of life. The danger with teeth and claws is hidden below the water surface. Stay away from the banks. This plant shouldn't be alive, not without leaves. It doesn't resemble the other trees of the wetland. It's something else. You get off your horse and prepare your axe. The water is filled with dirt and dead plants. It smells like an old corpse. Ew. Smells like rot. Ew, bad water. The roots are spreading far, breaking through the water's surface. You don't see any saurians in the grasses or on the shore. You approach the table-like altar made of 3 limestone slabs. Were these rocks originally are formless as they are now, or was there a point in time, centuries ago, when they were precisely shaped and decorated by a master of artistry? Seems like it. Ugh. There's no way to tell. Rose is peacefully observing the dark grass and swapping flies with his tail. Whatever it is that you feel in the air, it's clear that your companion sees this place with very different eyes. So they're not... My horse is not stressed out by this place. I know there are dark forces hidden in here. I ask the right for a vigilant eye and a bright soul, or I encourage you to graze while I look around. Sure. You don't see any creatures nor humans. Look into the water. You step close to cautiously, without knowing how deep it gets. You have to consider what a saurian could be camouflaged in the mud, waiting for a victim to get near. If you don't plan to kneel down and drink, you're hoping to dodge a potential strike. Once you get closer, you start breathing again. While the water is dirty, it is also shadow. You see the vegetation, swimming insects, and even a small fish. All of them stay away from the tree roots, which look like a spider web covering the bottom of the pond. Aside from that, you don't see anything else that could catch your attention. Okay, look at the roots. You kneel in front of one that's lying on the shore. It's brown, covered with hair that resembles your own arm. When you touch it, it's moist, soft, and warmer than you expect. Ugh. I do something with it. What do you try to do? Okay, kick. The root is flexible and stretchy. Your blunt hit sinks into it like a pillow. Whenever you lean away, it returns to its original shape. What do we do with the root? Study? Either you can't do that or you don't understand. Okay. Look. No. Pick. No. Cut. You pull out your knife, then stop in place. You can't tell what the result of wounding the tree would be. Okay. I guess we won't be doing that. Let me let the dog out. Let's check out the altar then. There's clump dirt in the uneven nicks, fused with years of wind and rain. The bottom surface of the table is dusty, but you don't find any spider webs or mold, even though it's a perfect spot for them. The tree roots cling to the altar in many spots. They're firmly attached. You struggle to move them even by an inch. The cream-colored limestone is cold and smooth. Make an offering. Sacrifice food. I don't have any food. You can sacrifice a root. Meh. Let's get out of here. 7.5 hours. Takes us an hour and 45 minutes to go back. Oh boy. I think we can check out like 2 more locations before we have to go back to the inn. Let's go south. We were told there was nothing that way. The shifts of the mountains are cutting through the horizon. The water gets gradually less muddy. The cleaner it gets, the more animals you see. A family of deer blocks the road, resting and enjoying the cold water, which will be deadly for a human stomach. Consider riding around them through the sparse meadow, but your presence also causes them disquiet. Without much haste, they regroup and run east into the leafy forest. We travel forward. You reach Hag Hills, the wall of stones that has blocked the city's grasp. The one well-established route through them leads to the valley where you found Tullia's camp. There are no maps of the highlands, no local tribes, only stories. The beaten path leads you by the garden beds of herbs and vegetables, to an old yet not abandoned mine, hidden behind a massive door made of steel. Ooh, a steel door, not an iron one. Look around, there's no hitching rail for a mount. A bearded, skinny elder sits still on a bench, observing you like a sculpture, with his legs crossed and fingers interlocked on his abdomen. Let's make a joke. Look around. I think something has swallowed your wall, old man. Better move your veggies inside. The reprimanding look is followed by ice-cold words. A traveler is not going to teach me how to take care of my land. Your words are of a soul as dumb as a fowl. Digesting the thick accent and the insult it delivers, you get off your horse and once again hearing the man's annoyed voice. Let me see you whilst you speak. I can hear without magic, but I'll read your lips. Wait. He heard me with magic? He doesn't yell, but his voice reminds you of a combating structure from the city. His face is wrinkled, but he sits straight, with beard and hair still carrying glimpses of fair blonde. He stands like a worker, and his eyes are blue and piercing, as they belong to an infant. There's a refuge for those who are trusted, but I see a friendly breath in you. Say what you're looking for and leave me be. Explain I'm a Roadwarden? What do you call him? Let's call him Grumpy. Grumpy man. He stares across the garden beds, forcing you to wait in silence. The elder is tall, with long hair and a beard that was let loose a long time ago. His sandals are covered in dust, and you spot dirt on his clothes and skin. The woolen tunic and linen were made with care, decorated with colorful threads at the collars and sleeves. Now all the blues and greens have faded, and the fabric is held together by patches and stitches. His hands are still folded, the voice remains firm. You do not know our customs. Your name, your trade, your calling means nothing to the forest. I do not know what you expect to find here, but this is no place for strangers. I do my best not to smirk, he doesn't know what he's talking about. Wait for him to look at us. Let's not make him more grumpy. The man stands up and approaches your palfrey. Without touching it, he observes its eyes, mane, stomach, and rear. Rose ignores this examination. Manos was right then. Asterion is dead, as are his plans. Such is the fate of all dreamers. He turns towards you with a grim look. Are you going to look for him? You nod. Why? If he's vanished into the fogs, there's no point in putting yourself in danger. What do you expect to find? It's my job. I'm getting paid for that. And I'm here for money. He closes his eyes and nods slowly. The people of the north need someone willing to jump through the fire in exchange for furs and iron. Yet I wish you'd focus on saving the living, not chasing those who are already gone. With lively steps, he heads towards the spring. He washes his hands, once again forcing you to wait. He tries to dictate the pace of the conversation to put me in my place. His voice is cold and confident. So what do you need? I know I should have let you. I want to fix my mistake. Have you met Asterion? He wanders through among the garden beds from time to time, touching the leaves at hand. He was here more than once. He was no one to stand aside and let events play out by themselves. The villagers from the north are sometimes in need of my assistance, and Asterion was serving them as a messenger. He bends down and tears away a small, flowerless plant. He wanted to settle down among these roads, maybe to live freely. He had great plans and wanted to make this realm flourish, to rebuild the ruins, get rid of the brigands, and clear the trade route. I told him that the forest needs no more people, and that this realm is too wild to feed and clothe everyone. His greed and dream have eaten him, and now he's no more. He pauses, and you can hear his heavy breathing, as if he's getting tired. He straightens up. And that's that, traveler. If you want to look for his shell, travel north, far north. People there should know where he is. Okay. You have a job for me? It's the garden bed. We have everything we need. You won't give me a job, okay? What happened to the village, the ruined village? I'm not willing to tell you that. He raises his chin and his beard shakes. That shameful tale ought to be kept in the past for the sake of the living. Okay. Can you tell me about the altar? He smiles. This is the tree that you should pay attention to, the true gift of the forest. It answers our offerings and rewards us with its magnificent fruits. They heal both shell and soul, and make anyone who eats them stronger than they ever were. We gather around this altar whenever the winter ends, and whilst it requires a painful sacrifice from all of us, it prepares our one soul for the future like nothing else could. Okay, so there's a super fruit, somehow. If we find what we need to sacrifice. Bandits bother you? He strokes his beard, but then grasps it nervously. There are souls who steal from White Marshes, a village in the north. They would not dare show up here, but those brigands are brutes, simpletons. Even the leader, Glacia, listens only to force, will humiliate for the enjoyment of her band. She'll not be afraid of some lost Roadwarden. He lets go of his beard and lowers his head. She's drifted so far away from her old self. A kind, bright girl from Gale Rocks, loved by her parents, but now... Do not cross her, or she'll find you. What can you tell me about this place? Wait, can I look at my journal? I want to ask about this guy when we go back to the inn. Archive. What did we get from a description of him? A bearded, skinny elder. Let me write that down. I can ask Jason about that. A bearded, skinny elder. Okay. What's this place? Yeah, I see. What there's to know. People found copper in the cave. Been abandoned for a long time now, so we turned it into a shelter today close to the sacred tree and its altar. We're servants, my wife and I, and this place is nothing more than a servant's house. How do you survive here? His raised voice makes him sound like a preacher. One day, me and my wife will be but defenseless old people, but we've studied pneuma and leaves for many decades. I heal wounds and illnesses of humans and animals alike, and the beasts listen to our whispers. The holy seed lets our shell wait for death and strength. Okay. Anything about this place? This area? Ken, I've lived here for almost a century, traveled both by the path and through the wilderness. His voice becomes stronger and makes you think of a bard. But I'll not be your guide or a teacher. If there's anything you can wish for, it is that you stay away from the woods. The creature gets angrier the more we take from them. They did not listen to our warnings, and one day they'll bury us under a storm of claw and fangs. There'll be not a soul to spare a tear after us. His eyes are as harsh as a hawk's, making him look like a priest who hears a child asking for honey on the day of ceremonial fasting. Do not poke the hornet's nests. Do not ride east, and never use the path that runs to the heart of this land. That road was meant to save time, but brings only death. Be a servant, not an overseer. Do not try to bend this place to your will. He points to you and wags his finger after every word. Your will, anyone's will, is the key to danger, not salvation. Well, I need to make money to pay off the loan or the debt of my sister, or my cousin, my daughter. What was it again? What was my quest? Who am I saving? Gather wealth. Save my sibling from debt collectors. I need to take some risk to achieve my goals. He observes your lips. Do you need anything else? Can you tell me about the druids? He strokes his beard gently. I would not share our path with strangers. We are the people of Howlersdale and of the lands around it. Okay, so he doesn't like us. See that the path to the heart of the wood is quite dangerous. It was a long and dark past, and already caught many souls of its builders. It is paved with blood, and the last 10 years have revealed it was all for nothing. Since the days of glances at you, once again surprising you with how shiny and lively the blueness of his eyes is. Since the days of grand discord, the tribes of the land are locking themselves in their fields and houses, too afraid to leave them behind, too untrusting to meet other souls unguarded. It is not the first road to be claimed back by the wilderness, and it will not be the last. He asks if he has any tips for you on how to survive such a trip. He tells you it would be wiser to avoid it, then reaches to his pocket, grabs a leaf, and puts it in his mouth, chewing gently. Death may take any path to us, stranger, but cats are the one's enemy that's both as dangerous as it is in stealth as it is in combat. No human can fight it alone. If you see one of them, it's not too late. Do not provoke it. Make it wary but not scared. Look big, talk a lot, see its actions and its eyes. You like how besides the heart, we have butt cheeks? Oh, this? Our food? Or the star? I think it's supposed to be some kind of bread. Some bread icon, our nourishment. Thankfully we've eaten today. Can I stay in the cavern and take a nap? Or that our stranger... Okay, he doesn't like us. Let's get out of here. Let's go north. You slow down. Among the shrubs, a small pack of dragonlings is feasting on the carcass of a grey auroch. One of them, with red feathers on its arms, straightens up and gives you a curious glance. Its head tilts left and right, forward and back. It screeches at you but doesn't move forward and returns to its meal. You wonder what would happen if you were on foot. Would they let you be, satisfied with their prey? Would they run after you? But if so, for what reason? Now you have enough space to move forward, yet stay safe. The powerful jaws break the monster's bones loudly, then bite off a small chunks of meat. Right forward, but keep my distance, and look over my shoulder. The beaten road serves your palfrey well. The forest to your left becomes sparse and brighter, and there are dozens of human-made paths along the fruit-bearing trees. On your right, there is a large pasture, with at least a dozen massive mouflons. Two of them, already sheared, look comically small. Soon after, you ride alongside vast, flourishing fields filled with rye, still green, preparing itself patiently for the second harvest. Rye is a cold-weather crop. Not as good as wheat, but better for cold environments. The path ends with a massive wooden gate. They have mouflons and rye, both cold-weather stuff, farming things. The path ends with a massive wooden gate. The stone wall, separating you from the glow of lights behind it, isn't as tall as the roofs, but you can imagine climbing into its top. There are pretty much no cracks, no missing bricks, a sign of many hours of labor, especially considering how massive the settlement is, as wide as the city district. The birds and monkeys are now just a distant echo, replaced with the sounds of cart, running hammers, saws, laughters, and shouts. I don't feel comfortable in large settlements. We're from a small village, but I'd rather be in a settlement than inside on the road. Maybe we can rest here. A young man is leaning against the... Well, I'm gonna write that down, okay, for later, when we ask Jason about stuff, about people. Young man. Up. The young man is leaning against the closed gate, covered by its shadow. He's young, tanned, and has a short, elegantly trimmed red beard. Beneath the green gambeson, he wears an expensive tunic decorated with colorful trims. He From his arms hangs a steel helmet, but the metal is so thin it's mostly made of wool and leather. He moves into the light and takes on the posture of a disciplined soldier, not a mercenary. He stands upright, with his chin up. There are 2 weapons on the ground leaning on the wooden beams of the gate, an axe made of steel and a wooden club. He doesn't reach for either. He dismounts smoothly, still having some vigor left. Rose holds its tail high. A narrow path leads north towards the 2 field workers, one with a hoe and the other with a pitchfork. They wave at you. You can't see their faces, but their clothes are simple, grey pants and vests made from hemp and wool. Sure, let's wave back. They talk for a bit, looking towards you and pointing at your mouth, and walk away, disappearing behind the wall's corner. The guard smiles to avoid your eyes and has to clear his throat before he speaks. Welcome, traveler. If you're not here to make trouble, Hallersdale welcomes you. We have the whitest flower there is. When he bows, you realize that it is a well-practiced performance. If it's new garments you're looking for, you can order everything you need right here, in all colors, shapes, and sizes. Capes, boots, vests, robes. Or if you're yourself a master of the needle, I can assure you we have fabric that you're looking for. Ah, so they are ready to trade clothes and flour. Good information for the city. We're supposed to scout out all the settlements and see what they have to trade. And make a report back to the town. Or the people who sent us here, the Merchants Guild. His act is over, and he glances at you with your mount in a moment of silence. His eyes get wider as he observes it with a childlike fascination. This is Rose. It helps me patrol the roads. You can pet its side if you want, but no sudden movement. He follows your instructions. Even though your palfrey pays no attention to the man's careful touch, the guard grins widely. I'm Leto, the new Roadwarden. I want to see your mayor. A city folk, eh? The mayor is busy, but I'll ask her. Give us a moment to let you in. You knock at the gate, which is then pulled onward by 2 other guards, a man and a woman, wearing their own gambesons, similarly green, but tailor-made to match their figures. So they have a green, like, insignia. The nearby buildings are simple houses made of wooden beams and covered with thatch, while the storehouse is even more modest, with a roof made of planks. The watchtower has a ladder made of ropes and sticks, not stairs. Just give me a moment. The guard strides away before he finishes his last words. The others close the gate behind you and observe your mount carefully. Your eyes run east to a humming creek running through the center of the village. You can see it here. Wait for the return of the messenger. Calming sound, eh? That's Howler's Creeks. The guard, like most of the locals, is taller than you. Wide but shallow. There's never been a flood in years. Howler told me there used to be no bridges. Neighbors cross it with their boots in their hands. And it's clean like a raindrop, but there are not many fish. We're the cleanest village in the north, her companions... Wait, the guard... Wait, whoa. The first guard was a lady? Dang it. Her companion chuckles brightly. When the guard returns, he's still alone. She cannot come now. A friend of mine is in labor, eh? The mayor wants to be there when the child arrives, but I was asked to show you the village. Fine. You push the watchtower. Hey, the dog is here. Hey, doggy. Everybody say hi to the dog. He's taking a nap in his corner. In my room. Okay. You push the watchtower. Tie him out here. We'll keep the kids away. Most of the neighbors are getting ready to celebrate. Once you're done, he grabs a rope ladder. The view from up here is gorgeous. I don't think of my knife. If it's a trap, I'll get him first. Yeah. Even though the ladder swings all directions, the guard gets to the top quickly, like a monkey climbing up creepers. You, on the other hand, needs to stop and wait for the ladder to calm itself. When you join the man on the wooden platform, you're a bit dizzy. He's leaning on the wooden parapet, observing the area with a smile, with no weapon in sight. So they're not very cautious, or like paranoid, it looks like. I look around. Oh! See? This isn't a place like Hallersdale. The guard points in every direction, giving you no time to contemplate. For the next few minutes, he describes the field and their crops, the flocks in the pastures, the shepherds inspecting the fences, the ancient garden of trees and bushes, larger than the village itself, the sunlight dancing on the stream to its own tune. If you're to believe everything he describes, this place has access to everything in abundance. The sweetest honey, the most fragrant bread, the softest wool, and the beer, it is excellent. He sounds like a city merchant who's trying to sell an old house. What an annoying kid. Near Havlovan, you could find 5 larger and richer settlements in less than 2 days. No wonder he's so proud of it. Why wouldn't it be? They've tamed this scrap of land and live in comfort. Let's say with that one. The islet in the middle connects both parts of the village. According to the man, the northern gate is hardly ever open, as it leads nowhere now. Near the eastern gate, there's the Ape Ale Inn, where you can find a bed and victuals, and there's the stall where Akakios rewards our work, unless you know him, with pointless talk. Let me write that down. Wait, is that my... No, it's not in my glossary. Let's go ahead and take a note. Akatios? Is that right? Akakios. Excuse me, I made a mistake. Boop. Sounds vaguely Greek. On the opposite side of the creek, there's another white house. It belongs to Bion. The best closer in the north. Let's write that down. Bion. The priest lives in the southeast near the wall, but they do not talk to strangers. You also hear about the hunter, the cooper, the fisher, the miller. The pie maker lives with a sister, the baker, the smith and her husband, the carpenter lives with her kids. Some of the larger buildings could accommodate 2, maybe even 3 generations all at once. There could be more than 100 dwellers here. Consider stopping his speech, but he suddenly points at it again. See, the mayor's coming, the one wearing the purple. You're free to join her, traveler. And in medieval times, in our world, purple is considered a sign of wealth because it's made from a rare tint, or it's a hard to acquire tincture. I'm not sure if it's going to be the same in this world. You try to get down quickly, but 2 steps are enough to make you sure that it's a bad idea. You go for the ladder to find its balance, you're relieved when you touch the ground again. You untie your palfrey and follow the guard. You pass a small pasturage surrounded by a wooden fence, a few loose chickens, and a tethered boar. The fancier buildings are covered with whitewash coating, and surrounded with vegetables, herbs, and flowers. The bridges are wide enough to carry even a wagon, but for Rose, walking on the wooden beams is far from pleasant. The island is empty, but you notice an empty stall painted with the shapes of colorful flowers. Walk over the second bridge. Now we're on this half of the settlement. Along the entire path, you notice more and more people observing you, smiling, casually greeting you as they're focused on their own tasks. Finally, you reach the main square. A large tree grows in the center, surrounded by dark water held together by a thin wall. Perfect for sitting, but the smell coming from the liquid makes you think of rotten eggs. Large tree grows in the center, surrounded by dark water. Is it the same liquid as back in the altered weird tree? Maybe the same tree root or species. Yucky. The plain reminds you of the... Oh, okay, well, I should have read the next line. The plain reminds you of the tree you saw in the south, next to the swamp altar. In the north, you see the Ape Ale Inn. Judging by the tables, stools, and benches outside of it, it's open for guests. The villagers are chatting and dining loudly. You can catch their curious glances. On the side of the dining area, the merchants are arguing with a tall, broad-shouldered worker. An old man is sitting by himself, eating a pie, with a walking stick leaning against the table. A young woman is cleaning the empty mugs in the creek, speaking with a man at least twice her age, maybe her father. I need a spot to tether Rose. There's a wide wooden roof right next to the gate that shelters carts, crates, and sacks. You move your mount next to a donkey, to a beam placed there just for this purpose. Without a moment of hesitation, Rose starts to chew on the nearby haystack. You have some time to make sure it doesn't struggle with your bundles. Return to the inn. Look for the mayor and approach her. She's sitting on a chair with a 4-year-old boy on her knees. She's holding his hands gently, showing him how to eat gruel from a bowl. It's not a cheap meal, though. You spot nuts, berries, and milk, and the added honey makes it yellowish. The gruel we had back in the army camp was water, a weird cereal, some blueberries, and a wild millet. No milk, no honey, no nuts. The kid is clean and quiet, but once he notices your arrival, he crams his mouth with a spoonful of oats. Now, love, the mayor titters. Do not get distracted. She rubs the meal off his face. A few more spoons and you'll go help Papa in the kitchen, aye? She gives you a radiant, though apologetic smile, then turns her attention back to her companion. Observe her more closely. Her long, full-sleeved linen dress must have been dyed once in blue and once in red to achieve its dark, fancy purple, which would draw its looks even in Havlavan. From her left shoulder hangs a green woolen cape. Once again the green clothes. Must be some kind of... It's not exactly a flag, but an insignia. As thin as a shawl. The brown belt on her waist has a large steel buckle that portrays a running deer with unrealistically large antlers, growing in all directions like tree branches. Unlike her tribesfolk, she's pale, with powdered and rouged cheeks. And her lips match her outfit. Purple lips, though a bit closer to wine red. Ah. Hello, DJ Hans. Hi. We're just meeting the local mayor for a job, mostly, and information. Okay, unlike her tribesfolk, she's pale with powdered and rouged cheeks, wine red lips. The thick, grey strands in her long, blonde hair look more like a fashion choice than a result of aging. Her eyes are the color of her cape, green, keen and vigorous. She's shorter than most people around here, though she would still be the tallest woman in most of the northern settlements. While she's around 40, her slim hands add fragility to her appearance, even though her posture is upright, her legs confidently crossed, and her delicate voice assertive. She makes plenty of gestures, but her shoulders hardly ever move. Let's get down to business. I got a job to do. And we've spent like an hour here. It took us an hour to meet the mayor, and I gotta go back to the inn after this. I'm gonna ask about people. Go, go, go. Just a moment, please. She glances at you harshly and puts the boy on the ground. I'm sorry, love, but I need to speak with our guests, darling. She introduces one of the inn workers, a girl close to 15. Take him to father, will you? Her tone suddenly gets firmer, leaving no hint of a question or suggestion. Yes, ma, she responds. Both her hair and her eyes are nothing like those of her brother, and neither of the kids resemble her mother. The flowing water hits silently the rocks and wooden stakes surrounding this isle, then splits into two stream beds. In Havlevan, the river is surrounded by tall walls, protecting the banks from deterioration, and the water is seldom free of dirt. Here the smell is as fresh as it would be in the woods. So we have a Roadwarden again. The plant reminds you of the trees on the south next to the swamp altar. I'm sure you're hungry. My husband will bring you something soon. Sure, give me food. I could have more food. Food is good. Didn't I mention it? Hunger makes me peevish, and the days is too nice for that. She taps her chest and looks at a flock of birds that fly above you loudly, heading south. As we're waiting, be so good as to help me understand something. Even if you're but a mercenary, I cannot imagine a single reason for you to choose this realm for your wardening. This long as Asteria's disappearance. There's no glory or treasure to find here. Her pale fingers form a tent on her stomach, then clasp, leaving the forefingers pointing at you. You were sent here by the merchants. They want the peninsula. Well, okay. Not sure how she got that conclusion, but that's right. Let's be playful and jokey. I portray the situation as lightly as I can. Guilty as charged we are! You answer with a loud whisper, and raise your hands to the level of your chest, introducing yourself. Usually the more obvious side of the potential deal with the guild and the city chief. The troops, their pay, the patrols they would establish, the overview of taxes. But you keep adding more or less successful puns and casual phrases. The merchants would bring new life to this place, you conclude. And not just them, but the acrobats and bards as well. I get it, the mayor says with a smile. Even though she's shared a giggle or two with you, she didn't interrupt your speech. She takes a deep breath and you move the hair from her shoulder to her back, looking at your palfrey. And sure, if it was just that, I'd ask you where to sign. But it never is that simple, is it? Her eyes fill up with melancholy. I appreciate that you're coming with a carrot and not a stick, but when it comes to the guild, there's always a catch. Your accent is now almost identical to the ones used in the city. Speaking from experience, Dirty sounded confident. She titters and waves her hand by her chin, as if you just offered her a compliment. I've seen such negotiations during my studies, though I can't say I took an active part in them. Let me show you an example. She theatrically clears her throat, patting her chest with one hand and covering her mouth with another. Then leans forward and rests on her elbows, allowing her friends to freely make gestures. You make a deal with the settlement. Flour and wool in exchange for coins and tools. You send the first traders and they imply that you're ready to pay for more. They say parchments. Months later, you want no more rye, just the parchment and wool. Wait, whoa. Flour and wool in exchange for coins and tools. You send the first traders and they imply that you're ready to pay for more. Months later, you want no more rye. Okay, so the people who want the wool and flour don't want the flour anymore, just the parchment and wool. We cannot butcher any more mouflons, the locals say. Don't worry, you answer. We'll send you a small flock, just turn one of your fields into a pasturage. She pretends to speak as different characters, her voice comically shifts and she has no issues switching between accents. Keep going. She swings her hands above the table. Another year goes by, and while there's more parchment, the village lacks some crops. The tribe needs not just stolen coins, plenty of coins, but also seeds. And the guild is not satisfied. Sending our wagons cost a lot, and there are more highwaymen now. If you want us to come again, you need more mouflons and to sell us their cheese. Guess what? With a haunting laugh, she straightens up and spreads her arms like someone a third of her age. Turns out that the village can't say no anymore. They lack supplies, seed, and land. They can't refuse. I have no doubt that a smart leader like yourself is going to protect your people from these games. Oh, how wonderful! Keep the compliments coming. No one in the square reacts to her loud laughter. But all that does mean that I can counter every single city ploy on my own. That's the good thing about living here, with these kinds of people around us. She nods towards two little girls that are carrying a basket filled with vegetables between them. If some of us struggle, we all have to deal with the consequences. We all struggle, but we all benefit. But Havlovan, if they see profit in chopping off our arms, they'll sell them to the first bidder. She gives you a sad glance, but cheers up after a sigh. Let's finish the introductions. I'm Thais, one of the keepers of the Ape Ale Inn and the mayor of Howler's Den. I assume it would be convenient for you to take my answer back to Havlovan. She wonders for a moment. Stay, when could we expect the first caravan? After winter? Depends on what you can sell and what you want in return. Hey, we ate food! While the conversation goes on, the food gets served. The refreshing aroma of roasted mutton covered with a thick sauce made of mint, parsley, and honey tempts you to bite right away. The juices are sinking to the round trencher, a plate made of simple brown bread. There's also a small bowl filled with chopped red radishes and a sliced boiled egg, and a mug filled with cold buttermilk. It's all brought by a few young people, all of them referring to the mayor as their mother. In the end, the innkeeper himself shows up to wish you a good meal. He's wearing a clean orange tunic and a not-so-clean apron made of hemp. Yeah, this meeting is taking us more time. He politely introduces himself as Eric's, and after confirming that you won't get sick from what he prepared, let me mark that down, Eric's, another name to ask back at the inn. Eric's. After confirming that you won't get sick, he leaves you with it and his wife to your conversation. Thais stirs the meat into smaller pieces, then eats slowly, after expressing her enjoyment and with a hum. Meanwhile, we get into the important stuff. Sounds like the nearby ground is fertile. The village would gladly pay its taxes in grain and vegetables, with the expectation that a squad of soldiers will provide additional protection. Our youth is strong, she claims proudly, so we don't need your guards on our walls. But a lone Roadwarden won't keep the roads passable. We need fighters willing to patrol the paths, maybe even the heart of the woods. That's what we expect in return. You're not an expert when it comes to linen, cheese, and wool, so the mayor spends a couple of good minutes describing the outstanding quality of what the village has to offer. Especially the clothes, which are meant to be as unique as those made by Master Crispus. Let's ask about that later. That might be important information to know. Master Crispus, like this? Yeah, I think so. You've barely recognized the name of this tailor shoemaker, but you've never earned enough to pay him for so much as a single sleeve. And of course, we will never reject some steel and bronze. We lack alloys for sickles and scythes. She repeats her questions about starting a trade route. Truth be told, the guild is not sure about what the peninsula has to offer. It's going to take more than your village to convince them. Understandable, but you won't survive much in the other tribes. You won't find much in the other tribes. They have barely enough to survive, even after they trade for our crops. For we have the only decent soil in the realm. At least the people of the Gale Rocks have salt and barrels of fish, while creeks sell meat and wood. Actually, if you haven't been in creeks yet, the farthest village in the northeast, you could give them a chance. She nods with a smile. They could use your help with keeping the roads safe. White marshes, on the other hand, as well as old Pagos, are close to worthless. For a trade route, that is. She clears her throat. After these words, she stands up, walks to another table, and offers her trencher to an elderly man who sits there by himself. With a trembling voice, he thanks her, then starts to chew on the soggy bread. She sits down, wipes her hand into a clean cloth, adjusts the folds of her cape, once again crosses her legs. So tell me, Leto, how's Havlovan? I haven't gathered much news since the invasion. Sometimes better, sometimes worse. Far from great. Children who lost their parents during the war have no trade in hand. Let's make the city into a strong negotiating position. Well, depends. So this is a very peculiar part of the game. Whatever we say about how the city is becomes true. So if we say it's bad, then it becomes bad. If we say it's good, then it becomes good. I want to make the city... I want whatever the city needs to be to give me the most money for this mission. Let's go with sometimes better, sometimes worse. Not everyone has their own bed, but the new generation is ready to start their own fight. So they're looking forward to get to this peninsula and pay me for whatever I discover here. I was afraid it was lost to hunger. Her chuckle is trimmed with scorn. Good to know I was wrong. When the invasion started, some merchants were cheering in their houses, happy that they would sell all the blades and food they had stored. Can you believe it? This penny will make us rich. She emits the voice of a pompous man. That's why when the southerners reached the villages, they found almost nothing to eat. She sighs. Staying in a remote peninsula truly can be a blessing. She pauses, hesitant to go on, then shakes her head slightly. Well, we can't change the past. How can I help you? Alright, let's do our job. I was in Belt of the North. The innkeeper feels uneasy about Glosha's band. When you mentioned the raids on the northern villages, her eyes an arrow. Are you sure? It's the first I've ever heard about it. Glosha has been around since years back, but she's not been much of a nuisance. I'm just a messenger. He's asking you to join forces. I can't give you my answer. I won't ask our hunters to endanger their lives in the pursuit of some gossip. Okay, well I can learn more, I guess. She thought with exaggerated relief. What a splendid idea! There are only 3 villages in the north. White Marshes, farther north by the western road, Gala Rocks by the northern coast, and creeks in the far east. Bring me news from those places and you will get my answer. But I'm not paid for that. I'm being paid 3 coins to get from here to the inn. I'm paid for passing the message from here to Pell to the north. Asking me to ride for you for half the peninsula and back is a different deal. She lets out a brief chuckle, but her eyes observe you carefully. And how much are you being paid, if I can ask? Let's not ask. Her smile disappears. Now that's just plain rude. Bring me the news that I have asked for and I'll give you 2 dragon bones. No more, no less. Because that's 5 total. I wonder, back in Hovlevan, did you spend any time in Backwood Corner? It used to be this dark, dirty alley with muggers working even in daylight. I sit here with Octavia the miller in exchange for doing chores for her. She had a small wooden hut. Backwood Corner. Would make you feel like you're in the old days. The Boarhead Inn is almost 50 years old now. You explain that while this place is still called the bad part of the city, the Boarhead makes good coin selling beer and ale to students, mercenaries, and adventurers. The whole land may turn wild one day, you call on the local traders, but Backwood Corners will stay the same. She sighs with relief and puts her hand on her hip. Comforting, don't you think? There are these places, these dark corners, we can always find what to expect. Living there, though, that sounds awful and always was. She chuckles. I bet the thugs of my youth are no longer around, so I wouldn't count on them to giving me a free pass. But I wish I could have a chance to drink a mug or two with the innkeeper once more. The old lady was always too good to stay in that muck. There was the guy we found in the ruined village. What do you think about them? He's still alive, she said with distaste. He brought us some news from the north and paid off his debts to us, but he's an idler and a prattler. Drinks, too. The farther we stays from here, the better. Okay. He did ask us to not ask her about where she got her money. There was this weird tree down here with an altar. She straightens up and raises her chin. You mean Beholder? I'm gonna note that. Beholder. You mean Beholder, the guardian spirit of our wetlands. Every fall we bring our gifts, and in return it provides us with its blessed fruit, the flesh of the forest. She stares at your eyes. It's older than the oldest books and the oldest thoughts. The druids help us honor its sleep and show us how to ask for help. Either these rituals would be of use to you. She scoffs. I mean, I could use magical forest powers, but whatever. The ruined village south of here. Her tense gaze shifts into an awkward click of her tongue as she leans away from you. How do you want to think about this tragic fate? No one can negotiate with the wrath of the herds. A long pause, and I better not find you upsetting my neighbors with these sad questions. It was a challenging time for all of us. A wound we won't forget. The necromancers up north? She taps her finger on the table. I have heard of them. After you ask her to tell you more, she seems to regain her confidence. You mean White Marshes for sure. I don't know all that much about what's happened there. We have other lands if we can. I shouldn't gossip about it. We can talk about it on another occasion, okay? Tell me about your village. Oh, it's been half an hour, we've been talking. How long to go back? Probably 2 or 3 hours. Here's what it seems like. The greatest village in the far north. She raises her hands and makes an inviting gesture. Do I hope that to still improve this and that? She winks at you, but is suddenly interrupted by a pained cry of the little boy who hurt his knee during a fall. As the Muse Elder tries to calm him down, the mayor shrugs it off and titters, then meets your eyes again. It's good here. We have what we need and a lot of what we want. Building on top of more than 12 generations of hard work and bravery. She spends a few good minutes telling you about mouflons, wheat, rye, hemp, cheese, and wool, proud of every glimpse of prosperity. Whenever she mentions an artisan, shepherd, or farmer, she doesn't miss a chance to mention how significantly she's improved their conditions. She also omits some topics. You hear no tales of songs, ancestors, rituals, or days of prayer. It's like listening to a tax collector. At the very end of her speech, she does mention the wisdom of her elders, not kept in the teachings of the druids, who help her guide those who trust her. They heal our wounds in our gardens. Ah, that's their weak point in negotiations. They're not part of the United Church. And it could be something they have to give up to the city. Then change the topic to all the fruits trees, hares, and nuts in the woods. Once she's done, I nod. Tell me, how do people dress in the city these days? It's similar to what we have here. Before the war, the merchants were wearing these really long dresses and robes, way too long for my taste. They got mud stains every rain, and I see no reason to keep the shoes completely hidden. As far as I can tell, many folks wear headgear. We're not from the city, so we've only been there for a short amount of time, presumably. You describe the complex world of veils worn by rich folks who try to express their modesty by covering their long hair, of hoods, which thanks to the colorful embroidery get fancier with every year, of light caps and heavier turbans, introduced by merchants from the southern realms. The mere aspect of questions about colors, materials, prices. Once you satisfy her curiosity, does let you change. Only after you satisfy her curiosity does she let you change this topic, though still with shining eyes. Because she sees an opportunity. She might be able to use her village's hemp and linen and wool for this. I'm looking for Asterion. She gives me the eyes, then turns towards Rose. Is your palfrey a mare? We have 2 jacks. Could use some mules. Ah. You can decide if Rose is a lady or a gal. Well, I called her Rose, so Lady Dime. Right, there's no time for the romance of draught animals. It could take almost a year, correct? It was just a thought. When her eyes return to you, they regain their sharpness. I'd rather avoid long talks about that man. Let him remain as a part of the past spring. Since you're asking about him, I can only assume he was indeed sharing his goals with you. I can only assume he was indeed sharing his goal with yours. Ah, so he was also here to report about the situation. Sure. It's already different from him. I like it when travelers don't try to sell me bluegrass. Seeing your frown, she wears it off. It's just a saying. His words were stronger than his deeds, and he's no longer welcome here. What did he do? If you have to know, he failed and won't get a second chance. He was meant to escort Egidia, a daughter of mine. Let me write that down. Egidia. To her betrothed in the Gale Rocks. She was a great archeress, and the road from here to the coast is not that dangerous. When they saw goblins on the road, Asterion ordered her to push through, right into their trap. She touches her deep, deer-shaped buckle. They got jumped like a bunch of wealthy pilgrims. A Roadwarden worth their gruel should know better. He can fight with a blade, but my girl, she never had a chance. She sighs and looks at the gate. He disappeared soon after his pitiful attempt at apologizing to me, and we closed our doors behind him, for good. I'll let you know if he ever tries to return. Where did he go? She just her capes with an annoyed shrug. Try asking for him in the north. He spends most of his time between White Marshes, Gale Rocks, and creeks. Here he wasn't that eager to share his plans. You find your daughter? For a few breaths, her greased eyes see something in your face. Her words are careful yet hesitant. She's with the fog now. The goblins are after food, so they carried her shell away. One day she's going to charge our wall, awoken and empty. Even though she was a bit mawkish, I don't know what that means. Mawkish. Never heard that before. Let me look it up. Mawkish. Sickly, excessive, or childish. Where does that come from? From maggot. From a mock, maggot. Sickly or overexpressive. Alright. She was a bit mawkish. Her heart was strong and patient. She listened to people who was ready to help them and cried with them. She could tell you stories, but what for? Let the dead rest. You have a big family. She titters weakly. At one point, there were 12 kids living in our house. 9 girls, 3 boys. They come and go, as it should be. A few already with the forest, but most are all grown up now. Even started their own families. She looks away at the girl wiping spilled milk with a wet cloth. To be perfectly clear, they aren't exactly our children. It's a custom of our village for the mayor to look after the orphans. Thankfully, Eric's has a big heart and much more patience than I do. Okay. We talk and talk, but I still don't know where you're from, Leto. What's your story? Have you lived in Hoveleven your entire life? Only for a bit. I was raised in a small village just nearby and moved to the city after I decided to look for luck as a road warden. To the city for the first time after being surrounded by a couple of small houses and field. Strange feeling, isn't it? She puts her hands on the table. Even after my second winter, there I felt like a stranger. But those who know how to live in the countryside, close to the wilderness, will always find a new home for ourselves, don't you think? Gives you an encouraging smile. How long to go back to the inn? I don't know, I can't travel right now. Because I might want to stop this conversation right now and come back later. Whatever, let's keep going. Because the resting, we were warned about it, but resting in the Hallersdale is super mega expensive compared to every other place in the world. It's getting ripped off basically if we stay here. I mean, we have the money to pay for it, but still, I'd rather not get ripped off. What would it take to make you consider joining the city? I can consider it right now. While she laughs, her eyes remains keen. But if you want me to give you some answers, let's see. She looks up at the right and to the right, theatrically raising her hands to her chin. Some gestures of goodwill would be a great start. Since you're the guild's messenger, I need to know that you can be relied on. She gives you a wide, white grin. It's only the first step. Of course, do you even have the power to handle tax negotiations? She scoffs loudly at your head shake. Do enough for my village and I'll hand you a beautiful signed letter. A list of all the things my neighbors are looking for as well as what they can give in return. Your superiors are going to see more than enough to prepare the offer. I think that's fair. Sure. Perfect. New mundane jobs available in the village. One more thing though, she puts her elbows on the table, leaning closer to you. If you go behind my back, I'm not going to wait for a dagger, I'll end you first. She rests her chin against her open palm, giving you a disarmingly warm smile. I'm sure people already know that we have a new Roadwarden. Maybe ask around for see if anyone needs help. The more my neighbors trust you and need you, the more willing I'll be to offer you better pay. What can I do for you? Ah, so kind of you to ask. Before I ask you to run, let's see how far you can walk, shall we? Her eyes wander off left and right, and she gestures for a nearby guard to move away. He nods, then gestures for a few other souls to follow him. While a few of the locals cast curious looks at you, they turn away quickly as you notice them. The mayor's shiny green eyes are still locked on you, and her voice close to a whisper. Since Terra's disappearance, there's a little trade on the roads, and not much news reach us. Be so kind. Her flirtatious tone distracts you from how obviously fake it is. And help me learn some interesting tales about our neighbors. It means the ones that are meant to reach you. See, I knew that deep down you're a true sage. She titters and straightens up, adjusting her cape without haste. Do you have something to share? Soldiers, the soldiers who came here from the spring. She smiles wildly. You don't say. Knowing that, I'll prepare a few very tempting suggestions to the officials. But they're kind of all dead. Since they cleared the camp of brigands, they went so quiet. I almost forgot about them. Wait, what are the specific things I said? Let me read. I said, the soldiers who came here in spring were meant to find a good spot for a new outpost. The squad that made the camp at the southern crossroad is now nothing more than 2 people. They're planning to return to Hoveleven before fall. Okay, so it's basically with the soldiers still. I'm surprised they managed to stay alive till this day. Sending such an inexperienced group here shows that the officials misjudged this land. That's all for now. I keep thinking, surely city folk don't eat just wild game, salt fish and groats? What animals do the people breed in the nearby villages? Ibexes, mouflons, pawns and fowl, boars. Not much meat. Let's go with ibexes. They dwell well on hills, so it's gonna be a hilly place. Or mouflons for parchments. Or poundfish and fowl. But some can afford to buy boars. Actually, we saw a boar at the inn. Let's go with that one. Ah, the meat of the tribes. It is delicious as any. Our druids say that birds and fish are better for you than pork and mutton. Would you believe it? Even if they're right, our creek has very little life in it. We rarely catch more than 2 fish a day. Do you need my assistance? Okay, so need more trust. Let's end the meeting. Can I see how much it takes for me to travel? It's gonna take us 2 hours and 15 minutes. Okay, it's too late to work. So this is a mechanic of the game. In the villages, you can have generic, repeatable work, so you don't get soft locked. So you can do some work. It's gonna raise a bit of trust, give you a bit of money, and most importantly, allow you to use the village services. So, for example, if you have like no money, no food, no health, no nothing, you're not soft locked to just die, even though you're in a village and you know you can work here. Let's go back to the main square. You approach the inn. The stools and benches are filled with people sharing meals, news, and plans for later. The air is lively and filled with soothing routine. The innkeeper is walking among the tables, cheerfully, taking care of empty bowls and plates, or bringing some new servings from inside the building. I sitting in a chair, sharing a meal with a couple of fancy-looking folks. The stall is still in perfect order, but draws little of the locals' attentions. The trader walks around, gossiping. Whenever someone approaches the counter, he moves back quickly. Let's check out the innkeep. Even though the counter stands outdoor, it's not rotten or dirty, and you guess that like the other furniture, it is brought inside every night. Eric approaches you with a smile and leans on its surface with fists. He's portly, and even taller than his neighbors. He's got freckles, short grey hair, and an elegant beard. His long, woolen orange tunic has a decorative cut right under the neck, and loose braids at the edges. How can I help you, traveler? His accent is heavy, nothing like his wife's. He stops with a heavy boot and looks around as if he's just waiting to get back on his other tasks. His fingers are still dirty from weeding the garden. Can I buy some stuff? I keep them in the hall. Smoked mutton, a sack of dried fruit, nuts, biscuits. We eat fresh here and pay for work. Coins are not worth much. When he thinks, oh, that's why everything. That's maybe why everything costs so much. Because I don't like to use coins. When he thinks, his lips move as well. Let's say 1 ring for enough food to fill you for 2 days. In Havleven, that kind of price will buy you 3, even 4 times as much food. If you're in the mood for spending, I also have something special. Just give me a minute. He goes upstairs and returns with a small wooden box and a hand-long leather sheet. There's a teeth set. You're afraid of what he's going to show you, but then when he opens the box, you realize he means teeth cleaning. See? He points at 3 different compartments: salt, cloves, and mint. You mix whatever you want here. The 4th holds only a small pestle made of polished stone. And here are the twigs you would need. They'll last for months. Seeing you're not convinced, he takes a deep breath. Well, we do not let outsiders bathe in our creek. But give me 2 dragons, and I'll ask my kids to get you in shape. I'll get a tub with soap and rose oil, and we'll wash your clothes in water. I'll cook you something nice, as much as you can eat. That's super expensive. Food ration, 2 meals for 1 coin, which is a highway robbery. Bath and dinner, an hour for food and a bath for 2 coins, which is also a highway robbery. The teeth cleaning set for 3 coins, which is an actual crime against humanity. I could use a room. Sure thing, he nods. My kids keep it cleaner than you'd find in the city. Just tell me when you're ready. But I have to pay for it. Any rumors to share? Rumors? Not really. I have my own thing to worry about. Neighbors keep their own company. Better for everyone to seek help from my wife or the first speaker in a mug of ale. Anybody need my help? You say as if you expected travelers to get here any day now. I'll ask around. Come tomorrow. Okay. Any guests? I did not know. He scratched his beards. There was one vagabond, but he was not here for long. He had the scavengers. We saw them. And he didn't do much. A timid fellow. Talks loudly, but he's afraid of everything, especially the guards. His face is touched by flames. He has a big ballista. He says this word with a strange accent, smirking. And a large bird that had a beast of burden. I did not know what to say. He went south, and is most likely gone. And the trader, Akakios. The man behind the counter is inspecting a sack of white flour. Is time passing? Time is passing. Mumbling to himself and occasionally cursing. The other locals walk away, giving you space to talk trade in peace. Weevils. He points at the little dark blue insect that's trying to flee. Shit me fire. 'Twas ground a few days ago. Not pies for us, tomorrow looks like. Ah, they have an infestation of insects in their flour sacks. Unfortunate. I'll take care of it. Wait a second. It was ground. I didn't see a windmill. They have to manually ground all their flour. I'll take care of it later. A Roadwarden, eh? Even the mayor cared enough to see you, and kids are lining up to look at your horse. Strangers are like ghosts to them now. He's wearing a simple brown robe with no hood, a rope instead of a belt, a modest trim made of green thread. It barely reaches below his knees, revealing his sandals and crude pants made of linen. At the same time, it's way too large for him and hangs from a limb like a bag. Like a poor vendor. He stands sideways to you, with his legs crossed, leaning on the counter with one hand and keeping the other one on his hip. He's around 40, short and greasy, with a humble beard and hair. His fingers are unusually long. Let's make a joke. Are you a bill collector, or do you sell them? He gives a view in silence, then pretends to yawn. Brilliant. As far as I care, you can leave your pouch and bugger off. I help my neighbors sell what they have in abundance, or divide things among our workers, builders and travelers. If you want something, I'll get it. Let's get to it. Name's Akakios. I don't need furniture, but do you have anything for me? It's not to say, eh? What do travelers need? He clears his throat and turns away to look at his store. While some of the crates and barrels are empty, there are so much of odds and ends, tools made of wood and stone, pots, mugs, seeds, vegetables, fabric. He's got a few minutes to look through his ware. He puts 3 packages on the countertop, and as he unwraps the first one, you recognize what it is by the shape alone. Tell me it isn't a beauty. He chuckles and lets you hold the shiny battle axe. The haft is long, but the head is light. I know what you're thinking. Your eyes say everything. He praises the weapon loudly, but you barely listen to him. You see your reflection in the unused blade, as sharp as they can get. You're not a smith, but you see not a spot of rust. When you take a swing, it takes hardly any effort. The leather straps holding the pieces together are just as decoration, and the handle is as smooth as glass and perfectly fits into your hand. Is that better than my own axe? A well-crafted... I already have a well-crafted steel axe. Since we're a fighter. You like it, I? No, I doubt you can afford it, but do not worry. That's not all I wonder if I can flip it. If I can buy it and sell it. Somebody else for more money. His long fingers tap against the parchment window of a lantern. His frame is cheap, made of oak. This glued and this quiet, he says while shaking it in the air. Not as fancy as the iron ones with oil, but you can carry it in caves without luring all the corpse eaters and goblins. Perfect for a traveler, just take a look. Inside the lantern you find a place for a candle. Not a great match for people living in wooden houses. Iron glue are not easy to make, but I'll not ask for more than 4 rings! The last sack is as wide as a saddle, and 3 hands tall. It contains a whole bunch of undyed linen sheets. We usually keep them for our traders, but we could use a few dragon rings, and who knows if there's ever going to be the next caravan. Interested? How much? I thought it's 15 bucks. The linen I can flip. 10 bucks. I can sell to somebody else. Once we have, once we know more about the other settlements. And the lamp. You want to buy anything of what I have? He gestures for you to gather your things. This junk does not interest me. We're looking for what we cannot make ourselves, like iron or enchanted items. Next time, maybe? Okay. That took 15 minutes to present you the items. I won't have time to explore the entire village at this rate. Asterion. Desevet thought he was here more than once. He did not leave much behind. Smelly hoarder. He looks around and spits on the ground. He bought a blade from me. What kind of blade? Sure, it was a special one. A sickle sword with a tip wider than it was at the grip. The longest from fingertips to shoulder. Not a sword, not a knife. Single-edged. Brought his own steel to melt for it. What's a sickle sword for? More for cutting bushes, creepers, roots. Not for the tree, but as a fine tool. He nods to a passerby, but his smile disappears as quickly as it had shown up. Pathfinder used it. My pal used to have one as well. He chopped nuts with it. Nuts and mouflons. So it was for the wilderness. Pretty much anywhere. There are hills from here to the coast and bogs in the north, and the heart of the woods. Can I help you with it? You have a job for me? Know what? There's something urgent. I need a medicament for my daughter. Not that she has hurt anything. He raises his open palms, as if to show that he's not holding a knife. She's a teen, who wants to start hunting in the woods. I cannot teach her much, but I see better if she were to have a healing potion. You have... He hesitates. Almost 9 days. Bring me a potion before the last dusk, and I'll pay you 5 dragon rings. At least they pay well. Where can I find it? I can go to 2 places. The safer bet is beyond Old Pagos, on the mountain with the crazy monks. Crazy and boring. More boring than Mouflon, but they offer brew with Numa. You also head south, east of the crossroad, behind the Pell of the Norths. I've been there myself, but you find a dolmen there, as old as the city. And this, he reaches for a clinging pouch and pulls out a massive iron key. It's meant to open some secret passage there. Also, can you pay me more than $5? Well, that's all I can pay. I did not sculpt you stupid. The dragons I get here belong to the village. 5 is fair pay. And I'll mention them all to my neighbors how helpful you are. He takes a deep breath and adjusts his robe, sweating. Your daughter doesn't want to take off the stall? Nah, but that's fine. She hates me. It's better for her to take after her mother. She hates you? His low voice sounds like grunting. Since you have to know, our laws make me admit I was a wife-beater, and by my own deeds, I've lost my family. My daughter has a new father now, and I'm not allowed to marry again. As he starts to speak faster, he also wags his finger at you. But never touch my girl. Keeping her safe is the right thing to do, even if it does not make things right. And how do you know about the secret passage? From a merchant. She's from the south of Hag Hills. I was meant to pass the key to her friends, but she never showed up. Let me write down Hag Hills. There'll be somebody we can ask about for places later on. Hills. And you've just been keeping this key? I kept it with my trinkets and coins, that's all. We're planning to go there for years, but this is one of the things that you talk about. Not do it. Okay, I can look for your potion, sure. We can check out a couple more places. Go to Bayon, the tailor. You're wandering to the village. You see a crying boy, surrounded by 3 other older girls. They clean his injured knees while stopping themselves from laughter. 2 men in light clothing are carrying a wooden log, insulting each other with friendly banter. To the tailor. You follow the guard's directions and reached the whitewashed building standing on the western bank, next to a small garden of flowers and herbs. It's well kept and clean, with a plain, beaten front yard and parts covered with sand. Through the open windows, you catch a glance of the furniture made of smooth, almost shiny wood, with hints of dark cherry red, decorated with carvings and plants. A woman in her 40s is sitting on a wooden bench. The table is covered with fabric, threads, and needles made of bones and irons. She's sewing a long sleeve to what's going to become a blue tunic. Her movements are quick and confident. Her brown, wavy, shoulder-length hair is tied into a wreath-like braid, but other than that, her clothes are simple and inconspicuous. She doesn't have a left leg, but you don't notice any cane. You observe her for a few moments until, without sparring you so much as a glance, she encourages you to speak with a grunt. I'm looking for a tailor. You found one. Her voice is low, she doesn't stop her work. Her name is Bayon. You have a job for me? Question. The warden's voice is applicable. I'm the bard, okay. You get close. She stops her work and looks at you briefly. I can tell. You don't even hear a hint of mockery. That's a lot of work, and I do not take my work lightly. If I were to give you anything, people would see it, and I'll not let them show you them rags. By that you mean the price is high. You reach for a pouch, and she answers with a nod. Take me a day to finish and a fine fabric. Your city clothes are just fine for the wilderness, I guess. What I'll give you is for the time with lamb meat and mead, not pathfinding. The longer the outfit you want, the higher the price though. I'll consider the things people say about you as well. Oh my god. So expensive. $35 for fancy clothes. Ugh. We're here to struggle to get $100 for my objective. For my goal for this place. My game doesn't need some work. You take it off and point at a few abrasions. The woman follows you finger patiently. I take from 2 to 5 dragon rings for fixing jackets, but you're not getting anything more from this one. To get 3 stronger, it'll need to be made of better materials like spider silk. Okay, what about spider silk? The silk made by spiders. Thanks. The first one to break the size. The large ones. They use the winds to spin webs. They're stronger than threads, but my neighbors do not walk the woods anymore. They get harder and harder to get any silk. Your prices are high. As high as my work's worth. Whatever. Give us an enhancement, if I have my own silk. Well, it doesn't hurt to have better armor, but still. Go to local priests. You head south of the dead tree in the main square. Before you get to the second attached building, a large man stands from a bench and gets into your way. He's close to 50, taller than most people you've seen in your life. Broad-shouldered. His hair and short beard are brown, matching his elegant woolen robe. A thick club is attached to his right wrist with a leather strap. He left his sandal by a sitting spot. Many want to speak with our guides and teachers. He speaks with a solemn, strong voice. But you're no welcome here. Turn back, stranger. Need any help? His arch looks softened. We can handle ourselves. If that changes, Elpis will summon you. Let's add another note. Elpis. Thank you. Why am I not welcome? You can. He swings his polished, heavy weapon. You're from the outside and cannot be trusted. The boars and slaves of the United Church would crush us if they had a chance. Before we allow you to spy on us, we need to be sure it's worth it. Alright, let's get out of here. I don't think there's any time to explore anymore. Let's go back to the inn. It's getting late. An hour and a half. Too late to explore. Where's the guards? Have you been to the heart of the woods? We start on a hunt south of here. There are good hunting grounds in the western half. Wait a second. We may be able to ask for the name of this guard. The guard in yellow armor. We start on some south from here. There are good hunting grounds in the western half. The second one is too overgrown. Maybe the soil is different? He shrugs and moves the hair away from her forehead. It's a risky spot. There are treants there, and wolves, even the furless ones. If you have to go through the tall grasses, watch out for what's on the ground. There ain't many arches in the trees. She smiles if it's a joke, but there are too many worms even larger than a water leech. I can hire them to clear out the goblins in the village. I think that involves someone paying for it. I'm ready to listen. What do you know about the pack? Without interruptions, you tell her as much as you can. Getting rid of them will do the trick, sure. But as long as those buildings ain't raised to the ground, new beasts will move in, sooner or later. I didn't want to stop you from reaching into your pouch. A brief smile quirks her lips. Now you need to take care of some things first. Hunters or not, we won't raid a lair blindly. What do you want me to do? She lists your task one by one. In the meantime, bending forward to brush the boar. Make sure you've looked around the entire village. Mark will get mad if we turn around to get another lair. It's just behind the corner. Be sure there's no soul around. When we fight, we don't always do rescue jobs, and if we do, they cost a lot. We have to get the guy out. The boar grunts and turns around, leading her to its own side. Speaking of which, for you is going to be 12 coins. But we'll make some of the loot. We'll take some of the loot we find. We won't let go of magic swords and rings just because. Not that I expect to find any, but who knows. I can bring an axe with me. Just if you're a lunatic. We won't take you with us, Leto. If you can kill a goblin, good, but we have a team. Our own words, knowledge are of our strong and weak sides. We don't need you around. Just give us 2 or 3 days after you pay us and we'll take care of it. Let's go to the inn. Actually, I can wash in the well. About Glash's band, I can't get any answer. Let's ask about the names we've taken notes. What about the Elder, I think was the first one. The Elder? Bearded, skinny Elder. Bearded, skinny Elder. Don't know them, okay. Guard in yellow armor. Ah, our Dalit. Why do you ask? I've known her since she was a girl, so you better not bother her. If you're looking for a master of the crossbow, she's an obvious pick. Has she been added to my... Yep, Dalit. Anybody else in my notes? Let me delete that. Navika. Don't remember where I got that. Navika. She's from Gale Rock, ain't she? One of the sea folk. A boat maker. I heard that she got mauled by a dragonling, almost died. Ever since, she's all about work, and gets shaky if anyone raises their voice around her, or even laughs too loudly. Who told me about that? Not sure. Can I ask about the young man? Okay, can I ask about the guard in green armor? No, okay. Akakios. The big guy, right? We barter in howlers with him. We get coins, food supplies, and linen, so don't expect him to give you any good price for furs and trophies. Big guy, you say? He's lost a lot of weight. That's good to hear. It's better for the heart and legs, and soul also. Let's see. Bion the tailor. Bion the tailor, a quiet one. Everything we wear is from her, this included. He grabs the bottom part of his tunic and stretches it a bit. Looks good, don't you think? Most of the clothes we brought from home got ruined after several years, and our garrisons needed a lot of repairs. Let's let's go with his outfit. Know what? Bion is asking us to bring her any spider stuff we find. If you ever get some treads, sell them to her. Okay. Let me delete these notes. We don't need them anymore. Because now they'll be in our repertoire once we ask about them. Delete. Eric's, the innkeep. Let me think. Ty's husband. I barely talk to him, ever. He stays inside cooking, and spends a lot of time with their children or in the garden. I admire people who take care of orphans, especially if they treat them like their own, not just a free hand to plow the field. He tilts his head to the right and frowns gently. I also don't think he's much of an innkeep. Is he in my codex? No, actually, he didn't make it. Oh, the dog wants out. One moment. Where doggy go? Master Crispus. Crispus. Okay, what about Master Crispus? Okay, they don't know. The Beholder. He scratches his head. Is that a soul carrier? A shaman? Oh, wait. He crosses his arm. It's a large tree, the one that drinks blood. I saw it, but I don't need some dark powers to protect me. I don't care what the druids teach. Okay, so it drinks blood. Good to remember. Maybe in my notes? No. I guess I'll have to keep that. Agedia. Tyus' daughter. Don't know them. You don't? Okay. And Elpis? I ain't met her. The priests don't want to speak with strangers, but I've heard this and that. More of a sorceress than a fighter. She's been the leader of the druids for about 10 years now, I believe. She's... He looks around and leans at you. I heard that as years go by, the druids are turning wilder, less humans, you see? I heard that she's already halfway there. He nods, then straightens up. That'd be a good reason why Rice folks were fighting the druids. Their blood gets bad. Okay, I think that's all everybody can ask about. Think I want to buy? No. I think it's time to sleep. With an hour and a half, we don't have time to go and explore the eastern side. I can sleep in a room to recover a bit of our health and have a bath. And be fed as well. For 1 coin. Not only, so we get a room for 1 coin, we get fed, we get washed, we get a bunch of stuff. Whereas in Howlers, there would be like 2 or 3 coins for that. A comfy bed with a clean blanket in an accented chamber. You also get a large breakfast, a wash tub with water and soap, and some clothes to wash your teeth. Our first night. You hear a thunderous roar. You rise to your feet and rub the sleep from your eyes. The doors are opening, people are shouting orders and words of warning. As you open the window, you see what's behind the commotion, something on the other side of the wall, trying to get through, and the guards are fighting off with their torches, spears, and crossbows. Thanks to the light, you see the large, furry paws placed on top of the wall. As far as you can tell, the beast is about a single leap away from the inside. Quick, help! Pay me! Money! You look for a gambeson and a blade. Still a bit foggy in your thoughts, and once you find them, you struggle to get inside the jacket. As your habits kick in, you see the innkeeper right in front of you, holding a candle. You're a guest. Stay here, he says without a shadow of hesitation. My team has no time to worry about outsiders. Just through his words, you hear cheerful laughter from the wall. Clear by the way they point their fingers and lower their weapons. The beast is fleeing. I want the money for that. They could have paid me. Oh well. The small room is quiet and far away from the unwanted eyes. You take a calm bath, rest on a soft mattress, and look through the window. Enjoy the minutes of safety. In the morning, you find a stool with a large wooden plate. Bring an aromatic breakfast, fresh rye bread, a sausage, a bowl of berries, and a mug of malty beer. Now, so the innkeeper is putting firewood in the stove. We ask if you need anything. Can we go and bet with the guards? How about axe throwing? If you can handle it, we'll throw 8. Sure. Hey, we won. Between the turning of axes, there's plenty of time for casual gossip. After getting to the 4th point, the other players nod with respect. Quite a score. Ah, we're getting some money from here. That it, right? Oh? She goes the cover in confusion. Are you asking me out? I ain't interested in any silliness. She brushes away from the hair from her forehead. The tangled chaos all over her scalp cares not for her effort. Well, yeah. Half my life ago I was living on crops, but I bet I've shot down more monsters than you've broken eggs. You're much of a fighter. Many more eyes turn toward you. It's hard to say. I better have friendly blaze on my side. Same here, says a man with a large scar on his cheeks. All as the group nod. One of the women mutters something. You can't hear, with the others welcome with a chuckle. Dad glances at them, then smiles at you. I never leave home without these goblin heads. No one has told me to find glory in killing, even if the bards so often natter about it. I'll take being alive any day, and a good team is often greater value than the best crossbow. 13. She knocks the price off by 2 coins for knowledge about the creatures around here. Been half an hour. Can I buy something from the inn? We have some good money. Pearls. We might need it. Meh. Let's go east. Try to find the dolmen that we were looking for. We can stop at these locations. We don't have to use these arrows. We can just go to these individual locations if we want to. At the crossroad. The curvy road is overgrown. Rose trots when it has a chance. More often it walks, forced to jump over larger branches, blocking the path. The nearby lake is surrounded by thirsty wildlife. I'm through the dark forest, ready to react if something jumps at me. A couple of stone slabs were turned to a hut-like shape, one of the ancient chapels read by the priests of the United Church, in the days of few soldiers and even fewer shelters. The dolmens were proved to be especially durable, though the conditions they offered were harsh. The entrance is barely wide enough to let you walk inside. It was meant to keep the larger beasts away, including your palfrey. You can't spend the night here. You dismount and look around. Approach the hourglass carved into the stone. It's the most common religious sign of the city folk, adapted by the United Church, the Order of Truth, and the majority of the fellowships. It's used in temples and during the funeral rites, but also decorated codices or jewelry. The winged hourglass portrays the ephemerality of life and the rigidity of time. When possible, they are made of steel, signifying the strength of humankind's determination and innovation. Step away, the real believers don't need a special place to pray. In the old days, it was a place of faith. I should touch the hourglass and pray. Sure, a bit of prayer can't hurt. The stone welcomes your open palm coldly. The hourglass doesn't start to shine, the birds don't cease their singing. There's no incense inviting you into the chapel. And once you close your eyes, gather your thoughts, and rub the sacred shine with your fingers, your soul is focused and tranquil, as if awakened after a long rest. In your silent prayer, nature seems both distant and familiar. It doesn't shape itself around your thoughts, but you feel like nothing is going to hurt you, not while you're here. So be it, you say at the end of the prayer, as your ancestors have taught you. The birds are singing delightfully. They step away. Enter the chapel. The beam of light gets through the gaps between the rocks, but you can hardly see anything. A torch would fill the place with smoke, but a candle will suffice. I wonder how many travelers have even sat on the cold rocks, observing the entrance and fighting their heavy hidings. Let's look around without a candle. Okay, well, first... Wait, well... Let me light a candle. You unpack the tinderbox from your saddle, and place the flint and the chameleon char cloth on the narrow slab sticking out to the right of the entrance. Decades ago, before the Southern invasion, people used fire strikers made of thick steel, All you have left is a cube-like piece of harsh pyrite. It's not the best, but enough to make a couple sparks. Study the weak light is hardly enough to let you examine the chamber. Look for clues carefully. For half an hour. You touch your surroundings, bringing the candle closer whenever you suddenly catch your attention. Even though a part of the ground is covered with a single massive slab, there are sections free of any flooring. You see soil, some small rocks, sand. In one spot, you find the remains of charred wood. There's sticky soot on the walls. Parts of it covers black marks and pictures, possibly letters. But we can't read. Look around. Door? There are no doors on the walls. Considering the size of the dome, it's only one chamber. Roof? See a couple of spider webs. For the most part, the ceiling is covered by soot. Spider webs? See a couple of cobwebs, but only all the corpses of spiders and flies. Soot? See soot on the walls. Work over black marks and pictures. Letters. A large part of the wall is covered with engravings. It's difficult to figure out what they are meant to portray, but one picture is obvious to you. A long arrow pointing down. Parts of the writing as well as the nearby walls covered with soot. Okay, arrow. Okay, down. You stop in a couple of spots and don't hear any direct response. If there's anything below the chapel, it must be under a thick layer of soil and rock. Soil. The slab. The wood. Part of the floor is littered with the remains of an old campfire, no more than a couple of months old. You see dust, burnt bones, and wood. The wall above this spot is covered in soot. The bones. Let's go to the secret passage. If it's here, it's hidden. Okay, hidden. Don't find it. Dig. You look at the ground. You could grab your knife, some light, and dig through a few inches of soil and stand step by step, finding probably just rocks, but you guys are going to go smoothly. Look for one spot in particular. The arrow. Dig arrow. No. Holes. Maybe I can try that. Try to make a hole in the ground, but no luck. We know the secret passage is here. Let's try. Let's try a secret passage. Let's try to dig. Secret passage. Hidden. Dig. Where can I go back to that? Okay. Get to it. Took us 2 hours. The mark on the wall. Yeah, I tried, but it's fine. We got it. You start where you stand, pushing aside the layers of dirt and disturbing a few colonies of worms. And the most interesting area turns out to be hidden beneath the remains of the old campfire. You move all the ash and pieces of wood until you find a well-preserved plank. You dig around, finding a solid trapdoor locked with a steel padlock. We have a key. You insert the key, and after a bit of wiggling, something clicks. The padlock is cold, dirty, and rusty, but you easily get into the iron latch, which moves away smoothly. You have no problem unlocking the trapdoor. Go inside. You lift the hatch, and the heavy human hair suggests an abandoned farm cellar. Your candle allows you to estimate that the tunnel is roughly 15 feet deep, but there's no ladder you can use. Think about lowering the rope when you realize that one of the brick walls is covered with large holes, which are meant to be used as a vertical stair. You hear no sound coming from the tunnel, but the moldy walls and old cobwebs are not very welcoming. While we have to go there, we're paid for this. You have to move slowly, learn their new route. You hug the cold, moist wall, seeking the support of your boots. It doesn't take long before you feel comfortable enough to jump down, then light up with another candle. Over the walls and the floors are made of stone slabs. You see no movement, no other sources of light. The short tunnels leads to a small room. The room smells of rotten wood and fungi. Abandoned junk is scattered on the floor and the shelves. Earthenware jars, rotting scraps of linen or leather, wooden plates, bones for carving, and rusty iron tools. While these odds and ends may be years or decades old, the basement could be just as ancient as the main floor of the chapel. The one thing that seems uniquely fresh and durable is a small wooden box, held together by a few fiber cores. Take it. It doesn't feel empty, but it's light. You shake it for a bit, trying to guess what's inside. You can't open the box without cutting the cord. Yeah, sure, open the box. Actually, no, let's wait until we have the village. It might be, Might have an expiration date or something. Okay. Let's leave this place. We already spent enough time here. We have a job to do at the ruined village. Let's go to the crossroad first. Maybe we can examine this place. The wild plants in about 2 more weeks before they ripen. Okay, well, let's go. It's midday. Hey, the fish trap. It's still empty. Dang it. Let's explore the village a bit before we go back. We'll look around the northern gate. The path here has almost been reclaimed by the grasses. To your east and west, you see shadowy alleys behind damaged buildings. I want to open the gate. It may take a couple hours, especially without proper tools to help you remove all the grounds and rocks. Okay, no. We don't have it. We don't have a couple hours. I approach a nearby tree. You don't find anything worth picking. The half-dead quinces have maggots crawling under their skins. You wonder what parts of the meal is more tempting for the dark-winged birds sitting among the branches. The fish, the fruits, or the worms. Quinces are rarely eaten without having a chance to blet. You can safely guess that they were meant to be dried or to add taste to cookies or hard drinks. After a few moments, you realize the bottom part of the tree, just above the ground, is partially charred. Some of us have opposed the torch here, but the wet wood didn't burst into flame. About the well. A little bit soil. You find nothing interesting about it. Okay, let's go somewhere else. Let's check out this eastern part. Northeast part of the village. The debris was partially moved outside of the destroyed houses, but you find nothing of value. The table, cupboards, shelves, and bits and pieces were carefully ransacked. The wildly growing vegetables and herbs are the only remnants of the abandoned gardens. You spot fresh human footprints at the entrance of the latrine, most of which lead to and from the village center. So that's the guy, the scavenger. You need a set of simple tools. Lean against a pile of rubble, a wooden spade and a shovel, a pointed stick, a hoe with a bone head, a stone axe. All of them too old or too awkward to bother transporting, but you know where they are if you need them. Okay. Our stomach we're still sick. We're gonna come back here tomorrow anyway. Let's go with the scavenger. The entrance to the scavenger's hideout is open. You see scraps of metals organized in piles, while the old furniture has been dismantled into loose planks and pushed in corners. Hey, Roadster! The man looks tired and his beard is sticky, but he smiles at you. If you're ready, I'll start packing the tent. If you don't want to wait, start putting the iron in your mouth. It'll be quicker. Just say the word and we'll leave. To the path of the north. Scavenger keeps asking you to watch out for beasts and wraps the sharper scraps of iron into his cape. Holding the tent and putting it on your horse takes a while. Another of you can sit down on the large piles of sacks and bundles. There's a long walk ahead of you, but for Rose it won't be much of a burden. Once you clear the room, you walk away. At first you only the birds and horseshoes, then the man starts to whisper. Faster, eh? The apes are looking to us. Do you see any proof of that? Nothing we can do about it. Lead us to the southern gate. You move forward, slowed down by having to secure the bundles on Rose's back and carrying your own bags. After half an hour, the man asks for a break. Even though you share your food with him, he is not fully recovered from days of hunger. But the farther away you get from the ruins, the more cheerful and talkative he gets. Mostly speaking about what he needs to buy and how much he hated the day and place. Then the beasts show up. Prepare your axe. A loud bunch of griffins block the road near a pond. For you, their colorful furs and feathers don't look much different than the packs you faced in the valleys days ago. There's still some distance between you and them, but you could be crossed in less than a minute. There's maybe 20 beasts in sight, and this time they pay you much more attention. They spread their wings and start to screech, some of them making a leap forward. Your mouth is too overloaded for you to turn away and get out of their range. Better to hold our ground, groans the scavenger, preparing his crossbow and daggers. We should charge at them. Focus on killing one of them as quickly as we can, maybe the others will flee. If we had more knowledge about these beasts, we could know what the best strategy is, but they're not all bad. Let me see, bestiary. Do we have any knowledge on griffins? He has a crossbow. We also have a crossbow. We can try and shoot a couple of them. That's not the defensive. He nods and blocks the path between the beast and your mount. Then he raises his loaded weapon, moving his aim between the approaching creatures. Because I'm a fighter, we have experience enough to know which of these choices are bad. Keeping a bit of distance between us so we have enough space to fight. The more space will only benefit the pack. I stay until the creature gets in my range and surprise it. The beasts are so nimble that they can easily attack you from the side. Let's have our crossbow and start shooting. The arrow hits the creature in the torso, making it tumble and fall onto the ground, twitching its limbs and squeaking in pain. A few other beasts stop in place, screeching at each other and looking around, but the others are still on the move. You pull away the crossbow and prepare your blade. Stick with the scavenger, make sure nothing jumps on our backs. The man's arrows hits and stops on the creatures, but it doesn't buy you much time. He realizes your plan and gets close to you. The semicircle of beaks and talons is hardly organized. One of the creatures leaps at you and the other follow. The next minute you slice and dice whatever you hit, filling the air with squishes and feathers. The sheer number of opponents overwhelms you more than once, and it's difficult to keep pushing them away with your free hand. Judging by the painful shout, the scavenger is struggling but still alive. Finally it all ends, though not because of a lack of opponents. The two creatures you butchered are on the ground, but the others, some of them hurt, have enough strength to run away. Their will is broken, yet the attack will go on, at least for some time. Your fang gibison keeps you in one piece, and it's still in decent shape. The man spits on the ground. My apes and ibexes bang this place day after day. He leans forward, taking a deep breath, then looks at you. Roadster, we're a fine team, ye in the eye. He laughs briefly. Let me draw my ballista and we can move forward. It's not over yet. Never mind, it's over. We're here. It is over. I gotta buy more quarrels. The man's sleeve or stomach are soaked with blood, but he tells you to ignore it. Once you get close to Pelt, he whistles enthusiastically. You weren't kidding, what a fortress. The guards open the gate and he takes care of the scavenger's bundles, which Rose welcomes with a nicker. The man introduces himself quickly, and asks to be brought some water from the well. Thank you, Roadster. I need to ask the innkeep if he has any soap. I'm not going to chop my damn arm. He clears it with his tongue. But like I told you, if you want coins, you have to come back tomorrow when my pouch gets heavier. But I can and would prefer to give you the potion that repels ape men instead. It's useful, not as much in the south as it is in the woods. Now we're here for money. That's my character's motivation. Don't worry, if anything, I can leave them in with the innkeep. We have 5 hours still to explore. I'll be here for at least a couple of days. You'll find me around. After my recent camping, I'm going to spend a few hours kissing this nice strong wall. Oh, the scavenger's here. Then beneath the open window, 3 guards are arguing about something, but then ease attention with friendly banter. The innkeeper is dusting the corner of the shelves, the scavenger is nearby. Can I talk to you? I can. We'll do this tomorrow. Let me buy some bolts. For $2. That should help us for a while now. We have a couple hours. Let's travel a bit more. It's an hour to get to this dolmen, so we can go to one more location, I think. There and back. Uh-oh. The neglected path barely finds any space among all the hills, trees, and streams. There's a deer on the ground lying in a red puddle, surrounded by a small pack of creatures which notice your presence quickly. There's about 8 of them, with thick furs and shades of brown, grey, and black, and hairless faces with large eyes and large mouth. Currently stained with the blood of the prey, some of them move on all fours, while others comfortably stand on 2 feet. There are 2 to 3 heads shorter than you, but it's your mount which truly towers over them. And you see how a couple of the beasts take a few steps back, grunting and gazing at one another. The one with grey fur shouts, and the others move towards the rocks and sticks which are piled on the road. They hold them awkwardly, and some struggle to maintain a straight posture, leaning on their new weapons for support. Almost all of them spread to your left and right, blending with the shrubs loudly. Only 2 of the apes are standing still. Well, if we want to explore, we have to fight them. Rose tries to turn around, but literally follows your direction. I missed that time to load my crossbow. No, there's not. I dismount and prepare for combat, and you stay in the saddle. I won't be able to keep my horse safe. If we do a move, they're going to surround me. It's time to act. Charge! Your mount speeds up. There's only 2 people blocking the road. We can push through. So the dog is here. Hey, doggy. Your mount speeds up, but it doesn't have enough space to enter a gallop. Prepare your weapon, but while you have hundreds of hours of training behind you, hardly any of them have been in the saddle. You do your best to focus. The younger goblin attempts to stop your horse, but the strike it receives sends it into a nearby bush, screaming in pain. The grey one, however, managed to grab your boot. He's not trying to keep up with your speed, making one a long leap after another. The first strong swing of your axe was able to reach the target. A spear would be better in this scenario. Aim for the head. A lucky swing of your axe hits its skull, not only crushing the bone, but also pushing it out of your way. It rolls over the road, and your mount runs faster. Still riding, you shake the blood off your blade. Your leg is free, the road is clear. Ride as fast as you can. For a few more moments, you hear the angry shouts and screeches, but soon after that, it's again only you and your mount. Let's see what's down the road. A round pine tree blocks the road. For a wayfarer walking over the thin branches of the top is not much of an issue. Even Rose, led on a rope, could walk around the stump, but a large wagon couldn't move onward in one piece. It's not without detaching the mules, unpacking all the wares, and moving everything by hand. It's not good for traders. Cutting a tree into pieces will take hours, even with proper tools, and you can't hope to move it with just the muscles that you and your mount has to offer. If I had a fish trap, I could trap this place. I could consider washing the river. Consider. The river is full of life, not only a bit brown and greenish, but also smelling of algae. Won't help you much. Okay, so it can't actually help me. How much time do we have? 3 hours. I don't want to get further. We don't know how. I don't know how much further we can really get, because exploring takes time. And we'd have to account for the time we go upwards, and then it would be added to the time to go back to the pelt. Now, look around. What do you investigate? Whatever. You walk deep into the wilderness, searching through the shrubs and trees. You don't find any side paths, no remains of a camp or a hamlet. The first game trail you find has been used exclusively by animals. Okay, so it's not a used path. The tree? The leaves are not completely dry, and when you break one of the twigs, it still contains water. There are no signs of sickness that you can recognize, and the termites and other birds are still sparse. Beneath the trunk, there's no blood or abandoned limb. The trunk, the stump, you don't find any marks of moths or paws. The top is high and unnaturally smooth. It has been cut down. The tracks. In the trampled grass, you find 2 sets of tracks to follow. There are no hoof prints. The first set is near the destroyed wagon. The wayfarer suddenly stopped. You can see where they made a sharp turn. The second trail is close to the tree stumps. Most of the marks were left by flat, cheap boots, not suitable for long walks. But someone was wearing hard, wide heels, distorting the ground. Both trails avoid the eastern wilderness. They stick to the main road and lead you north. They could have belonged to 24 people, maybe more. You follow them for a bit, but lose them once there's no more mud and tree needles to find. Can I load my crossbow, by the way? Box. I guess we leave our crossbow unloaded, and in a fight we have to take time to load and shoot. It's not preloaded. The wagon? The planks are still firm and there's no mustiness in the air. The vehicle needs just needs a push to fall to pieces, like a child's toy with nothing to keep the parts together. There are ways to construct a wagon with just wood, leather, and fibers, but you find the marks of hinges, braces, nails, and clamps, which are not all gone. The wheels are missing, there's steel rims. You find only one linen bag, empty and moist. Excuse me for some background noises. Might happen. You can estimate how deep the tracks are. The ground was hard, so the cart's weight wasn't a significant factor. The river? We'll only take 2 steps to disappear into deep water. The rocky bank smells fresh and is filled with the sounds of frogs, insects, and birds. At one time I had to cross some rivers. I was traveling through a forest. There were some small creeks, you know, that would go up to like your ankle. And one day, well, not one day, but eventually I had to cross another river. I wasn't very particularly worried, and you know, maybe it was like knee high. I take a step, it's pretty deep. I take another step, and I don't touch the bottom, and I fell into the river, and lost all my electronic items, except for my phone because it had a good waterproof case. So yes, I think I can recognize what kind of river this is. You keep an eye on the land. There are no carcasses in sight, and no signs of shells that would be left nearby. The bushes. You found an arrow. There are no berries left, only broken twigs, fallen leaves, and the trampled grass. It is a pointy arrow made by a human hand, with a head made of horn and black-orange fletching. You don't know what type of bird would have such feathers. You see no arrow marks around, not even on the wagon. So in a bush, somebody left behind an arrow. The western hill. The rocky wall isn't much of a challenge. The top of the hill is covered with short grass and sparse trees. You notice a couple of the bushes with a good view on the road, just next to the remains of a campfire. Campfire up on the bushes. Charred pieces of wood, ash, bird bones, trampled grass, and a broken earthenware bottle. You follow the deepest tracks leading to the edge of the soft grass. Someone jumped down or at least stopped stepping on the grass. And the road? The road here has already begun overgrown. Bleh. The road is already being overgrown and fading away, but it's in not the worse shape than the other parts of the southeastern route. No alternate path has formed around the blockade. I think I know what happened here. It was an ambush. Yeah. What do you think happened to the tree? It was cut down by an ambush. It was cut. Or was the wagon abandoned? Because there's people who attacked them. Attacked by highwaymen. Was originally transported in the wagons? I don't know. People, most likely. They would have had to move everything off the wagon. Impossible to tell for now. I don't think we know. Probably the owners of the wagon. They were taken north. Yeah, we haven't found any signs of blood or anything. You think the tree was cut down to an ambush. The cart, which transported unknown contents, was attacked by highwaymen. Its ones were taken north. Are you sure to see what happened? Well, we can hold off. We can gather more information. Maybe somebody in the area is expecting a shipment. That's how we'll know what this wagon was supposed to have. Let's head back. Yeah. Please travel. Get me out of here. Do I have to finish this right now? I think I have to finish this right now. Okay, well. Ambush. Highwaymen. I don't know what it was inside. Taken north. Sure. I can change my thoughts if I want to. Let's get out of here. The guards are close to the gate, looking at you with curiosity. One of them speaks. We're closing, Roadwarden. Better come inside. What do we do tomorrow? We have our box that we have to go back to Howler's Dell. We can pick up our money from the scavenger here. And we can check in the village. We can open up the village for a shortcut and check our fish trap. And once we're back in Howler's Dell, I guess we'll explore around. And we'll have to pay to rest in Howler's Dell before we can make it up north to other shelters. Innkeep doesn't have anything, I think. Can I ask about the merchants? Or the wagon? No? Okay. Let's sleep. For one dragon bone. Very affordable. It's like at night. 38 days left. Like most people, you wake up in the middle of almost every night. Before your second sleep comes, you spend an hour or two taking care of your belongings, shell and soul. Some people spend this time with their friends and families, or lovers, but your routine is different. If you don't have to take care of essential tasks, stretch your muscles, work out, spend some time outside, pray, think about my dreams. I feel anxious during this time. Stretch a bit. Stay limb. For coming fights. Oh, our meal is different. In the morning you find a stool with a large wooden plate bearing an aromatic breakfast, 2 boiled eggs, a cup of buttermilk, and some ibex offals. Downstairs the innkeeper is putting firewood into the stove. Can I buy anything that I have? No. Can I buy more arrows? No. That's fine. Wait. Go back to the scavenger. You're supposed to pay me. Hey, roaster, anything? Money. And you shall have it. You saved my life, or what's left of it. And if I could give you more, I would. I need to pay the innkeep for blobs on my damn arm. So here's as much as I said. 5 dragons. I have other questions. Do you have anything? I wanted to learn more about the peninsula. What have you seen in your travels? You must understand. You're a roaster. People ask you for help. They don't think you'll steal from them when they're in the bed. He pats his bag. It's not the same when you're a drifter. They don't ask me to stay, to marry their kids, or to help them with their harvest. They just ask if I plan to pay for their room or buy stuff. You talk for quite some time, though it's difficult to uncover the details of his hidden in his tale. He claims that he and his pack bird came here by boat, about which he refuses to speak. He landed just next to Gale Rocks, a large fishing village near the northern shore. People there were irritable and unwilling to sit idly chat with him, but opened their mouths after he helped them at a smokehouse. On sunny days, the locals hunt on the shores, and when it gets dark, they hide behind the walls, gutting their fish. And when the weather goes to shit, they boil water for salt and put the fish in it. Then hop the barrels, though I don't know how. They don't have any mini trees around. And they sell the meat for the villages and, places. For crops. I was told to stay away from white marshes, though no shell told me why. I joined a group of fish traders that were going to Old Pagos in this monastery. They hate the place, everyone does. I traded there for a bit, but the villagers are cold. They spend their days praying and talking about on and about their duty, are grey like an ashworm. So I left once at dawn, me and my bird, and wasn't that a mistake. He was attacked by a short, bear-like creature. He tried to run away, but following his bird was a bad idea. He fell over in the thicket, so the monster had enough time to get him. I hit him with my bolt, wasn't enough. I kicked it, so it bites my leg, tears my flesh away. I almost dozed off from pain, can you believe it? The lazy bird came back and charged at it with his beak. His dagger was enough to get through the surprised animal's belly. It ran away. How'd you survive such deep wounds? The bird was patient. He let me lean on it. My ballistic scared Griffs away, and we got to Haller's Dell. That's where I found the elders. They agreed to heal me, but only for coin. They told me it's an exception. After a few questions, you're sure that by the elders, he means the local druids, held by the village in great esteem. They didn't want to talk with me a whole lot, say I'm impudent. His tone is filled with mockery. You hear that? I spent time with Tice, at least she wasn't so boring. She didn't like him. You ask him about her and she's more than happy to answer. She's mayor, so to speak. Once you get here, she'll make sure to see you. You'll know it's her. She's short and her blonde hair is straight and long. She wears dresses and rouges her cheeks like a merchant. He points to the scar in his own face, which doesn't help your imagination. She's not scary at all, at least as long as you don't ask about her wealth. Tell her a joke or two, drink some mead, or play dice. Her knife is something else. Why'd you leave Haller's Dell alone? It's my trade. I shouldn't tell, and I won't. You already know all you need to. Your trade. Enjoying your stay? It's not bad here, not bad at all. They bought what I could sell. Hunters wanted my entire pouch were getting me south. They're good for the lower price, but they won't just drop whatever it is they're doing to escort me. I don't care. I work for a couple of days, so do some chores for the innkeep, rest from the forests. Once the hunters are done with their plans, we'll move out. Scratches his cheek, beard, and finally sighs. But I do feel like I've eaten the troll shit, eh? When I landed here, I had my pile of bundles and trinkets, and now I'm stuck with nothing again. Should listen to the warnings. This land belongs to no man. And who are you? I could tell you stories for days, but who cares? He chuckles. I'm just doing my thing, moving from wall to wall, sleeping where they let me, buying what I need, selling what I can, saving dragons for later on. I used to be a sitter. People call me Pyros because of the, forehead. I don't want to push a plow or patch ship's sails all day long. I don't care if a corpse eater eats my bones, as long as I can stay free for a couple of years more. I'm damn good at staying safe, or rather I was before I landed in this shithole. He touches his scarred face and smirks unpleasantly. I haven't gotten one of these in years, but I didn't take 2 weeks on the roads here and I almost lost my legs. Spent all my coins in Haller's Dell for Elder's magic. He brushes some invisible dust off his pants. For the first time I've had an empty pouch, not gonna lie. But there's no coin waiting here. Once I push all their irons to the locals, I'm moving south. So I won't ride alone. I'm not making that mistake again. How do you get here by ship? I thought the merchants' ships can't get here. Well, he tilts his head to the right and gives you a distrustful look. If you're patient and take your time, you get to Gale Rocks from the sea. In a night boat or a raft, or something that can avoid the rocky teeths. Sure, no hope for a ship or any trade, but with some help, you can do it. But don't tell anyone I told you this. Something people should talk about. That's all I can do. Let me ask the innkeep about Pyros. Pyros. I don't understand people who choose to be vagabonds, but I do grasp that some can't bear the sight of their home. They just have to leave it. I just think one should do their best creating their own place, or finding people to whom they belong. I don't see a point in wandering like an outlaw. He knows a thing or two, I must admit, though he is slacking off. Let's go and bet with the guards as usual. Axe throwing. Money. Yay. It's free money at this point, since we're a trained warrior. Other characters, the scholars and the mages, they would lose money for like the first couple, the 2 or 3 rounds, before their skill in axe throwing went up. Speaking of, how's my skill? Gambling, combat experience, whatever. I show her the arrow I found near the fallen tree. Did any of you drop this? She returns it without hesitation. Nah, Get arrows from the village in the south, and they don't use pheasant feathers. Locals ask too much for their arrows as if they're filled with Numa or something. Every time we gamble, it looks like we take one dragon off the price. I have 13 dragons with me. Let me examine the arrow. You found it in the southeastern part of the woods, near a fallen tree. You don't recognize the type of feather birds used in the fletching. Anything else in my inventory I can look at? Keys. Let's have the key for the secret passage. The bundle. It's fine. Just a moment. She runs in front of you, cutting your way with her wide grin. Want to help us out? I spoke with our boss and I kinda need a rider. Huh? We're using the pair of hands here, someone who knows their way around the woods. She tried to explain that you'd rather stick to the saddle, but she weighs it off. So help me find a better soul. There are two people who I've heard who would like to join us. Erastos from Howlersdale and Cassia from Gale's Rock. Can I note that down? Maybe it'll be in my quest log. She grabs the side of her board, then pushes it away, as if she's asking a child to play by itself for a few minutes. The thing is, we already have hunters who used to live in these places, and they told me they ain't all too eager to welcome them here. I'd like you to speak with them both and to ask their folks for their tribe about them. Before I make a decision about who I should invite, I need to be sure they can handle the job. You're gonna pay me for this? Coins, duh. How about 5? I'll bring you a few more if you amaze me with all the news you bring. Okay. Any tips? She gets around the other guards and the ones with the fancy braided beard clears his throat. Ask as many people as you can. In small villages, we can never know who sleeps with whom. Who's this Erastos? A trapper. A few months ago, he told a passing by caravan he wanted to leave his home, and asked them to bring us this message. One of his past neighbors told me he remembers Erastos as weak. Quiet boy. I ain't sure he knows to fight, but we'd rather use traps anyway. Well, Cassia? She mentioned to Asterion that she'd like to come here. She's a guard, but I've heard she's more of a talker than a fighter. Gala Rocks is so far away, I'd prefer not travel here, but if she's the better choice, I may not have another option. Recruit a hunter. Let's ask the innkeeper about it. Erastios. I put one too many S's. Okay, I might have misspelled it. Whoops. Hunters. Where is it? Recruit a hunter. Erastos, not Stios. They told me she'd like to learn more about Erastos and Cassia. True, but I don't know much about them either. The locals don't enjoy bad-mouthing their neighbors in front of strangers. Maybe easier to ask someone from the outside. Well, you're from the outside. Whatever. Let's get out of here. To the village. You pass the area where you and the scavengers encounter the griffins, but the only things left of them is a few puddles of blood. Everything goes to waste in the wilderness. Check out the southeast part of the village. You find a small backyard. The ground is beaten, the grass grows only right next to the buildings. It would have been a fair spot for training dancers and fighters. The stakes of the palisade are covered with playful carvings left by children who are portraying monsters, weapons, and humans. The rubble has been pushed into the corners of the house. The furniture is broken, but you find something to use in one of the piles, a slightly rusty piece of steel. Once you pull it out, you realize it's a core for your crossbow, still usable. Nice. Let's check out a fish trap. You caught 3 fishes! You pull the rope and see 3 flopping fish inside. You prepare to your axe, then open the lid and reach for your catch. You stun the animals one by one, with 2 careful blows in the top of their heads, then finish them off with a knife, cutting underneath the gill plates. Spend another minute or 2 bleeding out the fishes in the stream, then cover them with a wax linen sheet. You should eat them soon or before they spoil. Probably won't be able to eat all of them. The dead fish, not worth much, but could be bothered for food or sold. Let's take the fish trap. We'll move it away somewhere. You shake the basket expecting it to get dry during your ride, then attach it to your saddle. And let's open the gate with the tools we found. You take off your cloak and put away your bags and satchel while Rose raises gladly in the meadow. After looking at the pile of dirt, you let out a sigh. You start with pushing the larger rocks, removing the ground around them and pushing them into a single pile. Then you do the same on the other side. The simple shovel and pitchfork help you a lot, and once you get used to them, the work goes smoothly. You're done before you get too tired. From now on, passing through this place will take you less time. Yay. Okay, let's get out of here. We're getting sick. Let me try and sacrifice a fish at the altar of the tree. And barter for them in the village. Approach the altar. You reach the road. The tree is perfectly still and hasn't changed a bit since the first time you saw it. The bubbles are breaking through the water surface, but you can't get close to it enough to the other source. Like an offering. Fish. You put a fish on the altar. It's not a bit dirty. Dang it. Okay, well, that didn't work. Oh well. 2 howlers, Dell. You approach the opening gate, then swiftly dismount. A guard approaches you, ready to take your mount to the stable. Hello, stranger. What news do you bring? This gossip. Even though Howler's Dell is a large village, the life here is slow. The curious locals gather around to take part in your conversation. Recently, a couple of kids had stolen a cask of mead, but were caught before they reached its bottom. You spend a few minutes with Rose before you reach the square. Someone clears their throat. You turn towards a man in his 50s, with large hands, an excellent beard and no hair. The stable master. We'll ask about them later. I'm not planning to return to the inn soon. We're going north. Stable master. He both introduces himself and answers an unspoken question. You frown, then realize that you indeed saw him before, and your palfrey was nicely taken care of during your first visit to the village. Or rather, I'm the one when this is necessary. I'd rather grind flour, he says with annoyance. Yeah, these guys don't have a mill. They have to manually grind their flour. You do not think your beast waters itself, brings itself father from the storehouse and cleans its own shit, nay? Takes time and nay. If this, he points to the companion, is not going to work for it, you better have a pouch in hand. Right behind you, the stable are not much more than an open shed, with piles of planks, 2 donkeys, and a bunch of napping chickens. Is the dragon bone enough? He nods. For one day, that's fair. Sure. I can say I'm broke. And he won't take care of my mount. Now we're going to be traveling. Here you go. He nods with grateful gratitude and throws the bone into a leaky bucket hanging from a nail, then grabs a wooden pitchfork. Leave him in peace. You're wandering to the village. On the island in the center of the village, an old woman is telling a group of children a story about the lethal shouts of howlers. A man is showing a teenage girl how to chop firewood with a bone axe. I could work for them, have a job for the day, but we're not here for that. I was meant to speak with Erastos for Dalit. You ask an archeress if she could point you to the trapper, and she directs you beyond the walls, to the edge of the northern pasturage. There, next to the creek, a lone wanderer examines simple box traps. They're placed every few steps, and judging by the man's empty sack, so far all of them turned out to be empty. Hearing your steps, the man sends you a glance, but soon returns to his task. In the city, he'd barely be seen as an adult. His facial hair is sparse and light, and he's shorter and slimmer than most women in the tribe. His elegant dark blue tunic suit is tanned skin, and the long dagger he's carrying has a carved handle. He's crouching, looking towards the other bank and playing with a blaze of grass. Then it hears you interested in heading south. He turns his head only slightly, as if he's eager and raising his voice. But he still avoids looking at you. She did? Are you taking me there? His voice is surprisingly deep, adding to his ear. What do you do? He waves at the boxes. You see? Got a hair yesterday. Nail in a box, in a snare. I can cut and dress spells too. Go for a bit longer, but he has nothing more. Can you survive? Gives you a puzzled look. Why would I? I go with the group. Dig holes, sharpen sticks. Not like I'm going to put anyone in danger. You're gonna miss home? He throws the grass on the ground, stands up and wipes his hand. Nah. I want to talk to. This job might be difficult. His voice grows frustrated. All the others as if they're master of the woods. But they die all the time. He goes to the nearest box. One of the walls turns out to be loose, so he adjusts it quickly and starts to wander away. Just give me a chance to do what you want, and I'll do it. I can go any day, any hour. Guess that's that. Let's go to the main square. Well, maybe the tailor has something to say about it. You know Erastos, right? She doesn't stop her work. Better than I know you. But she won't speak about me, about them with me. I guess I need to sell them spider silk. Mayor. Do you know Erastos? She makes an odd grimace, trying to smile while expressing confusion. I doubt there's much to say. He's just a trapper, and not the best one. Doesn't trust us enough to talk about Erastos. Innkeep? Oh, did someone contact you to work about that? Did someone contact you about work for me? Very much so. Ask for Timo. Let me just write that down. We'll ask the inn next time we pass by. Timos. She's usually at the creek, just outside the southern wall, doing laundry. She wants to find herself a husband. There's not much in it for you unless you'll be here for the marriage rites, but it'll make her happier. I mean, I guess we can do jobs, you know, to make people trust us, to give us more information so we get paid more. What arrest us? His eyes get gentle. Poor kid, is he in trouble again? You're sure that someone wants to offer him a job, but the innkeeper lets out of sight and leans against the counter. Maybe that's for the better. Lady's been struggling around here. But he's far from eager to share the details. One in particular catches your attention. This thing with bad affections, you see. My wife was clear he ought to stay away from our daughters until both him and they pass 20, but it's easier said than done. So he's in love? Bad affections. I don't know. I got some fish. Can you trade for it? He raises a fish to sniff it and holds his beard back, keeping it clean. That many fish in our creeks. I'll put them in a soup or bake them for a sauce. How many do you have? I'll give you a healthy meal for each one. Take 2. Sold 2 fish for a food ration. We have 1 fish left. Yeah, it'll last us longer. He takes your fish inside, making a bit of a noise at once there. When he returns, he's holding 2 small packages wrapped in wax cloth, which should be somewhat waterproof. Anything else I can buy? I could get a teeth cleaning. We have money. Nah. And the trader, Akakios, anything about Erastus? He wags his long finger. What do you mean? He broke something again? And what now? He wants me to pay you back? Tell him to fix it on his own, or grab him and drag him here. Everybody we ask says he might be in trouble. But for a few moments, I'm not sure if you should ask how many things such a thing happened. His best is heavy. How about the potion? I have this box. He raises an eyebrow. Take the box from your hands and cuts the cords with a dagger. It's filled with rags wrapped around an earthenware bottle. It's small and closed with a tall wax seal inside, of which you see a tin stick. With a grin, he picks up the bottle gently, jiggles it, weighs it in his hand, and puts it in the counter. Great. Let's hope that my little girl will not get herself swallowed by a dragon. We said 5 rings. He smiles and looks for the coin in a large pouch. Thanks for bringing of good news. Can you sell me, like, stuff to heal? When that happened, sparse supply. He puts his finger on his lips, giving a slight bite. The druids are better at casting healing than making balms. Used to be different, but magic stronger regardless. Looking to the topic, he points northeast. Try by White Marsh. There's what's-his-face, a warlock there, who used to take lessons at our village from the old archdruid. If anyone around here knows his way around, leaves this him. Let's ask about a warlock. An archdruid. For later. Do you want to buy anything I have? Raw fish. Meh. I think it's time to leave. We have 9 hours. Oh wait, no, first the washwoman. Timo. Before you reach the gate, you find 3 washwomen who are walking down the path, chatting loudly. The wet hair on their arms and legs shines, contrasting with the mud on their feet. Some of them wear soaked shirts. All of their heads are wrapped in a handkerchief. In kerchiefs. You know from the city how hard and sometimes dangerous their job can get. You glance at the laundry baskets full of clothes and bucket of urines. Once they notice you, one of them puts their things next to a fence and tells the other to go ahead without her. Her companions giggle, but Lodi leaves the 2 of you alone. I was hoping you'd speak with a traveler. She starts and looks away. Whenever she speaks, she's both very direct and distracted, struggling to explain her plans. After a brief conversation, you try to sum it all up. So you seek a man who'd agree to take part in the marriage rites of your druids. She nods energetically, but then freezes. She stands from work, but her face is young and smooth, and since her hair is hidden, her bright hazel eyes keep dragging your attention. Not just any man, she interrupts you angrily. Someone who stays in the sun and works hard for us and our kids. You ask if she has any children already, and after another minute of our awkward explanations, you take a guess that she doesn't. You see if it would make any difference for her to move to a different village. We live good lives here, safe and plentiful. I'd rather stay, but I could leave with a safe convoy. Alright, we'll have to ask around. I think we'll stop here for today. Tomorrow we'll travel north. Try to make our way to another kind of shelter we can use, like the Pelt of the North, or Howlersdale. We haven't actually rested in Aldersdale, but it's the same thing. 9 hours. It might not be enough. If I feel like we're too close for comfort, we'll head back here. Anyhow, let's do some archive reading before we leave. Some journal reading. Animal husbandry. Sure, we can read about this first section in daily life. The grounds around villages are rarely large enough to allow animal villagers to feed large herds, and therefore animals are mostly kept to help with labor, or to provide products other than meat. Mouflons and ibexes produce wool, milk, and skins used to be for the production of parchments. Boars don't require much attention and eat almost anything, so they are bred for fat, meat, tusks, skins, or just to get rid of the leftovers produced in the house. Ducks, geese, partridges, pheasants, and quails produce eggs and feathers. They can be used as a quick backup meal during harder times. Chickens are valued more than any other poultry since they rarely get enough. They rarely get through the tall walls and aren't picky eaters. Animals killed for meat on special occasions, or when they're too old to provide other types of products. A single family won't eat a large animal by itself, so it's common to share the meat for the entire community, which will return the favor later on. The relationship among the villagers are a bit cold, they trade instead. When an animal is butchered, it's crucial to waste as little of it as possible. Their hides are used to produce clothes, their hooves and bones add to taste to soups, and their offal is used, eaten, or turned into unique materials such as glue. Dragon bones, I think we've read about that. Did you know we haven't? Known as coins, dragons, or bone dragons. They're small hollow rings-like pieces of bones, often kept on a string. While their shapes and thickness are not precisely supervised by the state, most people can judge when the coin is too thin to be usable in the marketplace. Dragons are gigantic beasts, and killing them is sometimes not take only the most audacious people have interest in. When possible, the bones are taken from an already deceased shell, but sometimes a weakened beast needs to be helped along. Dragon hunters do what they can to not spoil their prey. Counterfeiting coins takes a lot of effort, and requires gathering bones of smaller but still dangerous saurians, and carving distinctive grooves inside every single coin. Using and producing large amounts of counterfeited coins ends in a lifetime of banishment from the province. The prices of goods are fluid and related to the accessibility of a specific good. The country is too poorly organized to maintain the banking system, so the merchants don't mind storing any types of bartered ware, from seeds to magical weapons. Family life. Different traditions and religions lead tribes to have their own unique views of the role and structure of a family. In some areas, one can abandon their spouse if they have a young child together, while in others, marriages don't exist, allowing the adults to stay loosely attached to anyone who shares their affections, and the children are raised by the entire community. Some villages are allowed loosely defined and non-binding monogamous marriages, while in others, a single family can be made of a few adults if they so desire, but they have to stay together until death. In one village, premarital sex is not a big deal, while in another, it's seen as taboo, especially if it's required to find a spouse from a different tribe. If a relationship is restricted by the laws, it's mostly for the sake of the children, or to make sure that the possessions of the dead person will stay for the rest of the family. In such cases, the belongings are passed to one's children. Even if there are none, the priority goes to the spouse, then parents, then siblings. If, however, there are no souls left, the possessions are claimed by the entire village. In the cities, the ways complicate the process for a more official written will. When nothing stands in the way, young people try to expand their families, with many women going through 3 to 10 pregnancies before they're 40. Since wars, famines, and illnesses are rare in the north, the child mortality rate isn't high. Since wars, famines, and illnesses are rare in the north. What about the monsters? People don't necessarily aim at having a new baby every other year. Nevertheless, the more children there are, the easier it is for them to provide for their elders, and magical healers do their best to protect women in labor from the dying. Farming. The fields are small and treated with special care. While cereal are not the base of the common diet, well-kept fields can deliver 2 or 3 harvests a year, thanks to the gentle climate and short winters. Through fertilizers, especially animal dung, villagers keep the ground rich for as long as possible. Experienced farmers and druids also support their trade with magical rituals. While it takes time and long preparation, it doesn't require large amounts of magical power, and can, for example, protect one's plants from common disease or insects. The cultivated grasses include barley, oat, rye, and wheat. They provide groats, cereals, and fodder for animals. Cereals are mostly used to produce flour, which can be quickly turned into bread and pies, and are the most welcome goods taken by the tax collectors. Whole broad beans are used as a meal, or ground and added as to tastier cereal soups, or cereal flours. Artichokes, cabbages, and eggplants are often used as a base for soups and stews and are rarely eaten raw. The villages don't depend on farming. The villages that don't depend on farming, such as those with large forest gardens or those focused on artisanships and trade, sometimes cultivate flax, turning it into linen, a high-quality fabric. Hemp isn't as fine fodder base, but can be used both as a food source and to produce cheap clothes, such as sacks, bags, and ropes. Fogs? Have we... No, that we haven't read that. Fogs appear in every season, aside from spring, but the majority of them occur in autumn. They are feared and hated by the Northerners, since whenever they touch a dead human shell, they awaken it. It's unknown why this happens or why it doesn't affect animal carcasses, but the common understanding is that the fog itself contains dense pneuma, which then spontaneously fills an empty human shell, replacing one's soul. Humans can replicate this effect thanks to the forbidden art of necromancy. Fogs also increase the potential of spellcasters. The fog is power, the tablets say, and while most people stay inside their homes while it's around, it makes casting spells easier by supplying wizards with pneuma. During foggy days, magical potions are easier to brew, golems act faster, and the blood magic becomes less demanding. Foraging. Yeah, the fogs, when I was playing as a mage, the fogs were quite a welcome sight because I could use a bunch of magic spells for stuff. And even if we didn't have any pneuma left, we could have a quick refill. Foraging and forest gardens. The older villages tames the wilderness slowly, making it safer and less tempting for predators. They construct small shelters, surround minor areas with fences, remove smaller trees, gather branches, and weed the less desirable plants. This process takes generations, but when done carefully, the village becomes prosperous. Forest gardens offer woods, food, and herbs. Nevertheless, the settlers forage in the forest from day one. They look for wild vegetables, spices, honeys, eggs, and small games. Nuts can be stored almost anywhere, and are valuable backup food. Mushrooms are dried and kept for later, just like the small sour wild fruits, especially quinces. Grapes, apples, pears, plums, and berries may be eaten fresh, almost added to meals or gruels. In desperate times, the foragers either hunt or look for edible barks, roots, worms, and insects, especially termites and ants. Then to recognize edible acorns, turn them into a roasted beverage, or make a semi-sweet flour from some types of chestnuts. This procedure takes quite a lot of time and preparation. Herbalism. The healers are not aware what causes illnesses and how the human shell works. If there exists medical science in this realm, it's practiced by the herbalists. Their knowledge of herbs and other ingredients required from medicaments and antidotes may turn into the foundations of their alchemical practices. Although traditional herbalists don't need magic, and their profession is much more forgiving, especially since they are supported strongly by the placebo effect. Hunting. Let's do hunting and languages and stop there. Another time, every village has to hunt, but not all of them are specialized hunters. Careless hunting irritates the beasts and provokes them to attack the settlement. The process itself can be extremely dangerous. Hunters avoid fighting their prey and prefer to use traps, crossbows, or spells to overcome their physical disadvantages. The true masters of the hunt knows when and how to track their prey, how to flay it, how to collect valuable trophies and alchemical ingredients from it. When they aren't looking for game, they search for eggs, explore the wilderness, or look for valuable bones and antlers. Most hunters retire before they pass their 40th birthday. Since their life involves constant learning and complex decision-making, they teach their trade to their children. Fishing is a safer type of hunting, though it involves just as much knowledge to efficiently support an entire village. It doesn't provoke nature's counterattacks as much, and yet it still isn't a safe activity. Water sources gather predators hoping to catch thirsty animals. Setting up fishing equipment at night or crossing deeper waters on a boat is never a time to relax. Finally, languages. There are 3 major languages used in the north. Adir's language, known as the language of the tablets, the city tongue, and the old speech. While no soul speaks using Adir's language, it is a useful tool based on the language used by the tribe of Adir, the first emperor. It was used to write down the rites tablets, as well as poems, songs, historical archives, philosophical contemplations, and alchemical and magical research. It developed the writing system and the intellectual tradition of the realm. It's constantly used by scholars. An equivalent to Latin, I guess. The language that took over and is known by almost everyone is known as the city tongue. Used by the majority of the tribes that Adir conquered. It spread quickly and widely, helping to find people to trade with without forcing them to learn a foreign language first. The city tongue is not popular in writing, but most people use it in their thoughts, speeches, and dreams. The old speech is seen as a language of pagans, or rather large groups of vaguely related languages. The city officials are discouraged from learning it and using it. Only the most isolated or the most isolationist villages and settlements use it in their daily conversation, therefore it evolves at a much slower pace than the city tongue. Those who use it are often considered alien and strange. It has no written form, though literate necromancers use Adir's alphabet to present the sounds that they want to write down. The results are far from perfect. The rest of the old speech is still present in many of the proverbs. Okay. That'll be that for now. See you guys, not tomorrow, because tomorrow's gonna be a video. So on Wednesday. Okay, bye, okay, bye, okay, bye, 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 bye.